Hello guys. This is Noko and this is the story about what if Naruto was in 7 Deadly Sins. The author of this story is R0 Tatsid, do check him out guys. Link will be in description. Let's begin. Nighttime, in Konoha. 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki was running down a crowded street. Nearly everyone in the village was out tonight to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the death of the Kyuubi, as well as to mourn the loss of their previous leader, the 4th Hokage. And though Hiruzen had retaken the mantle of Hokage, it wasn't enough to drown out their grief. Little Naruto was one of the many kids whose parents had died during the Kyuubi's rampage, and he had been an orphan for as long as he could remember. Though the Hokage tried to help out where he could, it could never replace Naruto's longing for a home. The villagers ignored him. They treated him as if he was cursed, destined to be forgotten. So Naruto would play pranks on them to try and get their attention. But all that did was drive them further away. We now join Naruto as he was running away from a group of angry villagers that had recently been pranked. "Get back here, you brat," a man yelled. His clothes dyed a bright orange from Naruto's most recent prank. "Laughs, nah, you won't catch me," Naruto yelled back as he continued mad dash, nearly knocking a few people over in his haste to get away. And those he didn't knock over, the mob did. "Whoops, giggles, sorry lady," he called out to a purple-haired woman he had almost knocked over. "Watch it, brat," she yelled. "Almost made me drop my dango bump." The woman, Anko Midarashi, had just taken a bite of her dango stick when the crowd reached her and accidentally knocked the dango out of her hand as they ran by. Everything almost seemed to slow down for Anko as she watched her precious dango fall to the ground. You bastards," she roared as she took off after the mob. As Anko was a chunin, and quite a good ninja, she quickly caught up to the mob and proceeded to knock most of them unconscious. She then spent an additional 30 minutes lecturing them on the glory that was dango and why they should never waste a single bite, even referring to them as the food of the gods. Though an echoed voice replied that ramen was the food of the gods, she decided to ignore that. Naruto managed to get away from the mob after a majority of them had been cowed by Anko. He dove inside an alleyway that he knew to lead back to the orphanage. One of the perks of being a street rat, as the villagers called him sometimes, was that he knew most of the streets like the back of his hand. A useful thing to know when you're planning to run away from a mob of people you just pranked. Naruto was just exiting the alleyway, after making sure that no one was still chasing him, of course, when he spotted 2 ninja walking down the empty street. One of them had gravity-defying silver hair and was reading an orange book. The other had a bowl-cut hairstyle and the bushiest eyebrows Naruto had ever seen. He was also wearing a skin-tight jumpsuit, but Naruto tried his best not to look at it. "I wonder where they're going. The festival is in the other direction," Naruto quietly said to himself. Although, quietly for Naruto was how an average person normally spoke. "I'm gonna follow him," he once again spoke out loud. "He knows we can hear him, right?" the silver-haired one asked the other. "Ah, the springtime of youth is strong in the little one. What's the harm in letting him follow us, Kakashi?" the bowl-cut responded. "Aye, none at all," Kakashi replied. "Stomp's foot, curse you Kakashi and your cool attitude," he yelled. Did you say something, Gai?" "Ah. That's it, I'm winning this time for sure." "If you say so." The two continued to bicker until they reached an empty training ground. "Same as usual, Gai?" Kakashi asked, putting his book away as he did. "Normally I wouldn't object to our usual contest, but how about this time? We give our little follower a show, Gai asked as he was taking off his weighted vest and arm-leg bands. "What did you have in mind?" "Sparring." "Aye, sparring it is then." The two of them prepared themselves for their contest to begin, Kakashi raising his headband while Gai did his stretches. They were waiting for the signal to begin, that signal being a leaf that was going to touch the ground now. They disappeared in a burst of speed, only reappearing when they made contact with each other. Naruto was attempting to watch, but he could only see them vanishing, only to appear in another place a second later as loud booms shook the landscape. Boom, punch, blocked, crash, kick, dodge, slam, a new crater being formed by a kick Kakashi dodged. Whoa. Naruto had never seen a real ninja fight before. Sure, he had seen plenty of the chunin sparring, although he may have been focused on pranking them at the time, but they were never this intense. These two were changing the landscape with their fight. Mostly Gai, though Kakashi had 1 or 2 craters as well. Naruto had always wanted to be a powerful ninja. He wanted to be looked up to. He wanted to be praised. But most importantly, he didn't want to be forgotten. That's why he signed up for the Ninja Academy. That was starting next month. He wanted to be like these 2 ninja. He thought with stars in his eyes as he daydreamed about being an all-powerful ninja. A ninja so strong he could end every fight with a single punch. "Enjoying the show?" someone said from behind him. "Ah," Naruto screamed. his body tipping forward until he landed onto his face from the fright. "Aren't you allowed one?" Kakashi asked while picking his ear. He was hoping the kid didn't cause him to go deaf. But how? "You're over there fighting that guy," Naruto responded loudly. "I'm also over here. What's your point? How are you in two places at once? Can you teach me please?" Naruto yells. The stars were back in his eyes from seeing this ninja do what he thought was impossible. "Aren't you a bit young to be trying to learn jutsu, kid? What are you like, 3? Hey. I'm 5 years old today." "Oh? Happy birthday then." The silver ninja replied as he pulled out his book again and began to read. Though he lowered it once he noticed how quiet the kid was being. He looked down to see the kid smiling while holding the hem of his shirt. "What? You told me happy birthday," the kid responded, now much quieter than he was before. Kakashi's eyebrow quirked upwards. "And? You act like no one has ever told you happy birthday before." "Just Gigi." Kakashi was confused for a few seconds until he realized what the kid meant. "Oh, I'm sorry." That caused Naruto's smile to widen further. "It's okay. Because one day, I'm going to be the world's strongest ninja." He started out with a yell, before in a much quieter voice he added. "That way I'll never be forgotten again." Kakashi felt bad for the kid. He really did. "Is that all you want? Is the only reason you want to be strong just for the strength itself, or is there another reason?" Naruto thought about it for a few seconds. A look of concentration on his face. No. I also want to protect the ones I care about. That's also why I want to be strong. I never knew my parents. I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay, I have other people that are important to me now." Naruto's happiness was starting to come back. "Oh? Like who?" "There's old man Ichiraku and his daughter Am." Naruto listed off on his fingers. "Then there's Gigi and that girl with the pretty eyes." He finished his smile now fully back. "Girl with the pretty eyes, huh? I wonder who he's talking about. It sounds like you have a lot of people to protect. You better get strong then." "I will. When I join the academy next month. I'm going to train until I'm the strongest there is." "A noble goal, my young friend," Gai yelled from directly behind Naruto, causing him to fall over again. "Will you quit that?" Naruto complained. "Oh ho, sorry about that, young man. I was just so excited to hear your reply that I could not contain myself." "Why?" "Well, how about I give you some advice to help you out on your journey?" "Really, what is it? Are you going to teach me a really awesome jutsu?" Naruto quickly replied. "Nope." Naruto fell on his face from the quick answer. "I'm going to teach you something much better." That perked him back up. Naruto wondered what it was going to be. Chakra exercises, a book on how to make an all-powerful jutsu. Or maybe he was going to show him how to do that cool being in two places at once thing. "What is it? Tell me, please." Naruto yelled as he nodded his head in excitement. "I'm going to teach you how to." "Uh-huh. What? Exercise?" Gai happily responded. Naruto's face planted again from the answer he was given. "Fine. If you didn't want to help me, you should have just said so," Naruto yelled. He turned to storm off. "Was your resolve really so weak?" he heard Kakashi ask. "My resolve is not weak." "Then why do you walk away when the most prominent jutsu expert in Konoha is trying to teach you something?" Was this bushy brow guy really that good? Naruto thought for a moment before heading back to his place in front of Gai. "Okay, I'll learn what you have to teach me," he said. "Excellent. Follow me," Gai yelled. He pulled Naruto along as he started walking back to the center of the now crater-filled training field. "Now, my young friend. I am going to teach you how to get much stronger and to get you ready for your academy years. Are you ready?" "Yes, sir," Naruto eagerly responded. Neither Naruto nor Gai noticed when Kakashi left, so engrossed in the lesson as they were. From that night until early the next morning, Gai had Naruto doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats and running around the training field. Every time he thought Naruto had reached his limit, the kid would stand back up after only a few minutes rest, eager to go again. When Gai finally did leave the next morning, he gave Naruto this last piece of advice. "Remember, my young friend. Do these exercises as often as you can, increasing the reps as you get older. Wouldn't want you to injure yourself, now would we?" "No, Gai-sensei." "Great. I'll see you around then, young man. I have to report to the Hokage now, bye-bye," Gai yelled before vanishing in a whirlwind of leaves. "So cool," Naruto said with stars in his eyes. He stood there for a few seconds before he decided to do another set of his exercises. That one set would turn into another, then another and another, before Naruto would finally make his way home to go to bed. The next morning he would wake up and be ready to go again, with a little help from a certain giant red furball. And he would continue those exercises every single day. Even And he would continue to do those exercises every single day. Even when his bones ached, his muscles tore, his skin peeled and poured blood. Naruto, for the sake of his desires, never once faltered in doing what that ninja had told him. Even after he forgot what he looked like, he continued doing those exercises. After he joined the ninja academy and they had their own exercises they would have him do. After he got home, he would once again do those same exercises. Years passed this way. The first year, he didn't notice anything different. And the second year was the same way. So he simply increased his reps and the number of sets he would do. The third year he noticed he had gotten stronger. Though he had nothing to test his strength on, he could feel it. Academy doesn't start sparring practice until the kids were 9. Though for the ninja class kids, target practice, chakra training and learning tactics began when they were 6. The fourth year was when he proved to himself that he was getting stronger. In class one day at the academy. "Alright class, today, we begin sparring practice. Now, I know that a lot of you don't really know how to fight yet. And that's okay, you'll learn that later. For now, I just want you to get used to sparring with each other. And next week we'll begin to teach you the academy style of Taijutsu." Haruka Yamino, the chunin in charge of Naruto's class, announced from his place at the front of the classroom. Well, that may have been true for a portion of the class. The majority of Naruto's class, the important ones anyway, were all children from the various clans that called Konoha home. And they were all taught their clans Taijutsu from a young age. As well as the chakra techniques they would later be known for. As such, they all had a significant advantage over their fellow students. And Naruto, who, while having zero formal training whatsoever, had been training his butt off for 4 years by this point, unknown to all but one pretty-eyed heiress, was looked down on by the rest of the class as he acted as the class clown to get attention. When the sparring matches were announced, everyone looked at Naruto with pity in their eyes as he was paired with the idol of the class, Sasuke, or as Naruto called him, Sasuke. "Itcha. Ready to lose, dope." Sasuke sneered at Naruto as he got into his clan's Taijutsu stance. The taunting didn't faze Naruto though. He was too eager to test his strength against the prodigy to be concerned about what Sasuke had to say. "Begin," Haruka yelled. And Sasuke dashed forward. Naruto didn't move though. He just stood there, waiting. "It looks like the dopey's scared." One kid jeered, causing the rest of the class to laugh. "Come on Naruto. You can do it." One pretty-eyed heiress quietly cheered. Sasuke was closing in on Naruto now. So he jumped and led with his right leg forward in an attempt to kick Naruto in the chest. His leg was intercepted with one hand though. Right before Sasuke could make contact, Naruto raised his right hand and grabbed him foot mid-kick. "So slow," Naruto said. He swung his arm to the right, which took Sasuke along with it, and released his foot right before his arm was fully extended, sending Sasuke flying out of the ring and onto the hard ground below, where he tumbled unconsciously to a stop, hit his head on the ground when Naruto threw him. The jeering and laughing class was now completely silent as Naruto made his way out of the ring. "Great job Naruto." Hinata cheered inside her head, for she was much too shy to do so loud. "A good job, Naruto," Haruka said after a few seconds pause. Thanks Haruka-sensei," Naruto happily responded. "Right, that's all for today class. You're all dismissed." "But Haruka-sensei, what about Sasuke?" one of the fangirls asked. "I'll take him to the infirmary until he wakes up. You all go home." Haruka dismissed them with a wave, before picking Sasuke up and carrying him away. When Naruto reached his home that day, he once again started up his routine. Exercise until you can't move, then do it again after resting for a few minutes. Such was Naruto's life in the academy. No matter who he fought in the sparring ring, it always ended in one move. And as he got older, all of his classmates seemed to get slower and weaker with the passage of time. By the time he was 10, they no longer allowed him to spar with his classmates, as their egos were being destroyed from sparring with Naruto. So instead, during the sparring class, he would begin his exercises early. His workouts now were a far cry from the 100 of each that guy had taught him to do. It now consisted of 1,000 of each followed by a quick 10-mile run. He would do the real run of 50 miles after he got home. His exercises staggered his classmates, as they had never really seen him put effort into anything. But now that they saw this, they had a little bit more respect for the blonde. They still thought he was an idiot, though. A few times, Sasuke tried to do the exercises with Naruto. However, he collapsed after only doing half of them, and he couldn't move for the rest of the day. 3 more years passed this way until finally, it was time for their exams. And it was time to see just how strong Naruto really was. Naruto arrived at the academy building early this morning wearing his bright orange and blue jumpsuit. He wanted to get a seat close to the front. The exams went by row from the closest to the farthest. So he wanted to be one of the first to go for his exam. He was confident that he could pass. And although he still had trouble with the clone jutsu, the other parts of his exam he knew he would do well on. Unless he accidentally cuts down a tree or two during the kunai and shuriken exam. The instructors yelled at him last time he did that. Like it was his fault the trees around the academy were so easy to cut down with a blunt kunai. Okay, so maybe he did need to learn to control his strength. But the wall they also went through definitely wasn't his fault. Those bricks obviously weren't up to code or something. No way that shuriken would have gone through it so easy otherwise. Although seeing Sasuke without the duck butt hairstyle was quite a novelty. He was walking to the bathroom that was on the other side of the wall. The girls cough, fangirls cough, loved it. Anyway, Naruto was making his way to the classroom when he heard yelling. But Hokage-sama, surely you can't be serious about this. He heard Iruka yell. So he slowly crept his way up to the wall and pressed his ear against the door. Indeed I am, Iruka. I feel it is time for a change in how we do things. He heard Sarutobi, his Jiji, reply to Iruka. But these trials are ridiculous. We haven't covered any of this material, and this will cause most, if not all of the civilian students to fail. Iruka said. And why is that, Iruka? Are you saying that your students are ill-prepared for what they will face in the real world? Hiruzen calmly asked. Well no, but they I understand Hokage-sama. We'll go and get the trial set up. Iruka bowed to the Hokage. Then he made his way to the door, his ko-sensei Mizuki following behind. Naruto heard them approaching and disappeared from his spot by the door, right as they opened it. The two of them made their way down the hallway before turning the corner and disappearing from sight. Whew, that was close. Naruto said as he reappeared, having jumped up and grabbed hold of the ceiling tile with his fingertips. More like through the ceiling tiles. In order to not be seen. I see, I was correct in my assumption that you would find a way to eavesdrop, Naruto. Hiruzen said from the other side of the door. I never could hide from you, Jiji. He said while rubbing the back of his head. A nervous tic he had developed when he was younger. Sarutobi smiled. You're getting there, Naruto. I just have a few more decades experience than you. More like centuries, pop ow. Jiji, that hurt. Naruto complained while rubbing his forehead. Sarutobi hit him with his pipe. Don't lie, Naruto. You didn't feel that at all, did you? He asked. He knew the truth of the matter as he watched Naruto any chance he had. And he saw just how strong the blonde really was. You got me, Jiji, he. So, how many reps are you up to now? 10,000 reps apiece and a 50-mile sprint around the village. The sheer amount surprised Hiruzen. He knew the blonde to be exercising a lot. But he had no idea just how high the number actually was. Don't you think that's a bit high? No. I don't even get sore with that number anymore. I'm thinking about doubling it soon. Was Naruto's reply. I see. Hiruzen just shook his head. What was that about anyway? You know I won't answer that, Naruto. Come on, Jiji. At least give me a hint, please. Naruto whined. No, Naruto. You'll have to wait to find out, just like everyone else. Figures, Naruto huffed. Run along now. I have work to do before your exam starts. You'll be there. Laughs. Yes, I will be there. So put on a good show, okay? I will, Jiji. Naruto replied while running out of the room. Sigh, you grew up so fast, Naruto. Did I really do all that I could to help you? Hiruzen asked. No one. You did what you could, Hokage-sama. Hello Kakashi, you're actually on time. Shadow clone, Hokage-sama. Sigh, of course you are. Are you ready for your trial? Yes, Hokage-sama. Training Ground 7 has been prepared and is ready for the brats. Good, at least you're prepared. However, should you be late for your trial, I'll knock you back down to Genin and have you catching Tora for a month. Yes sir, Hokage-sama. You're dismissed then, Kakashi. The shadow clone burst into smoke and Hiruzen was alone again. It's going to be an interesting day, at the very least. He said aloud before he walked out of the room on his way to his office. Back with Naruto. Naruto had made his way to the classroom where he found that he wasn't the first one to arrive. Sasuke was here, as was Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Akamaru, Shikamaru Naru, Choji Akamichi, and Shino Abiram. So most of the Ahem Rookie 9 were here already. The clan kids at least. The only clan kid that was missing was Ino. Though she was most likely with Sakura. I hope she doesn't sit next to me again. I'm not good at dealing with Shutter's fangirls. And it was true, they were both fangirls. And while not completely useless, okay, they were useless in a fight. However, they were smart. Both of them, as long as Sasuke wasn't in the room. Then they were dumber than I was. Yes, I'm fully aware that I'm not the smartest kid in the class. Anytime either of them sits next to me, all I hear for the duration of the class is how I'm weaker than Sasuke. Despite him never winning a fight between us. That I'm dumber than Sasuke. Granted, that part is probably true. doesn't mean I want to hear it. And how much of a better guy he is than me. I guess they think if they say it enough, it'll come true. He doesn't act like a better guy when he's insulting them. They don't see that though. All they see is his pedigree and the whole tragic hero backstory he's got going on. Parents murdered by psychopath older brother. Though when I met Itachi, he was a nice guy. So he's paraded around the village as the last Uchiha, bringing about an even cooler image to all of his Ahem fans. Still doesn't change the fact that he's an asshole, though. Anyway, Naruto made his way over to the farthest seat from Sasuke on the front row, where he sat down and lay his head on the desk, hoping that he could catch some sleep before whatever trial Jiji had planned began. That's also where Naruto was when Iruka and Mizuki arrived. "Good morning, class," Iruka yelled. "Good morning, Iruka-sensei." They responded, most of them at least. "Wake up, Naruto." Pop a piece of chalk impacted the blonde's head. "Ow. Oh, hey Iruka-sensei." "Hello, Naruto. Glad you could join us. We didn't wake you, did we?" Sorry Iruka-sensei." The blonde replied, his nervous tick again showing up. "Well, now that we're all here and awake." "Sensei. Shikamaru's still sleeping," Sakura pointed out. "Once again, now that we're all here and awake. Let's begin." Iruka moved over to the chalkboard. "Today is your graduation exam. The day when you leave the safety of the academy and move on to being a true ninja. And, my comrade in arms, take a moment to give yourselves a round of applause for making it this far, everyone," Iruka said as he led the applause for a few seconds. "Now normally the way we'd do this is to have each of you take a 4-part test. Starting with what you've learned in your time here in the academy. Followed by an evaluation of your kunai and shuriken accuracy, then a round of sparring would take the 3rd spot. And ending with evaluating your jutsu. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Let's start the test already, we're ready to go. Isn't that right, Akamaru?" Bark. "Ahem, as I was saying before you interrupted me, Kiba," Iruka said with a glare in Kiba's direction. "That was how we normally did things. This time, however, Hokage-sama has decided that we were going to do something different to test whether or not you are ready to earn your headband." "Like what, Iruka-sensei?" "That isn't for me to know, beyond what I'm supposed to test you on. With that being said, Mizuki, please pass out these tests to the class. We are beginning with Konoha's history." Everyone groans. An hour later. "You all did a fantastic job. And I wish you luck on the next part of your exams," Iruka said with a bow before he and Mizuki left the room. They weren't gone long before another person walked in. This was a tall man with black hair and he had a cigarette in his mouth. Inhales, "Hello, everyone. My name is Asuma Sarutobi, Jonin, pleased to meet you." "Hello Asuma-sensei," the class responded. "I am here to give you your first trial of the day. Follow me," he said before walking out the door as the class scrambled to catch up. He led them out to the target range, or what used to be the target range. Instead, it had an obstacle course set up. "This is my trial for you." "An obstacle course, Asuma-sensei?" Ino asked. "Yes, an obstacle course. So listen up," he shouted. "Starting from that line over there. You will jump the wall where you will find 5 kunai and 5 shuriken. Using these weapons, you will hit the targets inside the course while dodging the obstacles and staying on the path. There is a red line on the other side of that wall that you must stay on at all times. Make it to the other side, and you pass. Fall off the red line, miss too many targets, or take too much time, and you fail this trial. There is a grand total of 4 trials to complete, and you must pass at least 3 of them to become a ninja. Any questions so far?" he asked the class. "What happens if we fail?" one student asked. "You are kicked out of the ninja program." Next question. "How much time do we have to complete the obstacles?" "You have 10 minutes to complete the 1,000-foot obstacle course." "How is the course 1,000 feet if the target range is only 200 feet long?" Sakura asked. "And we have our first volunteer. What's your name, miss?" "It's Sakura Haruno, but..." "Well, Sakura. That's because you have to run this course 5 times, each time through you are given a new set of kunai and shuriken, as well as new targets to aim for. You have to hit in a vital area, or that counts as a miss." "Gulp, okay. Begin whenever you're ready. Once you get to the end, hit the big red button to stop your time. Better hurry though. Your time doesn't reset from one run to the next." "Right, I'm ready." The timer begins after you've jumped the wall. After Sakura entered the obstacle course, those of us on the outside could hear her screaming, explosions and quite a few loud thuds coming from inside the walls of the obstacle course. When she finally made it to the other end, 4 of her 10 minutes had passed and she looked ragged. Her clothes were torn, hair was burnt in several places, and she was missing a shoe. But she made it out. "Congratulations, Sakura. You have successfully completed your first run. Would you like to continue now or rest first?" Asuma asked with a lit cigarette in his mouth. Rest please. Very well. Ino Yamanaka, you're up next. He called out. I have a stomachache. She replied. Too bad. You shouldn't have shown up for class today then. Now, you're up. Kiba and Yuzuka, you're on deck. Yes sir. Kiba squeaked out. Asuma scared him. And that was how the class of 30 was narrowed down to 20. With almost half of the civilian students either dropping out or failing the trial. That only left the clan children and 11 civilian students at the end of the day. With only one student remaining. Sasuke Chiha, your remaining time was 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Which puts you in first place. With second place trailing behind by over a minute. All of Sasuke's fans cheered for him getting first. Though there was still one student remaining. HNN, beat that, dope. Sasuke said to Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, are you ready? Asuma asked. Yes sir. Then begin whenever your Ray. Naruto was off before he could finish. Once Naruto's feet landed on the opposite side of the wall. He grabbed the weapons provided and started his trial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Naruto counted his shots as he ducked under, jumped over and dodged around obstacles. 9 and 10. Dong. The red button had been pressed. And his final time was 15 seconds to finish his first run. And if that wasn't shocking enough for Asuma and his classmates. His time only got better from there. The second run was 12 seconds. The third run was 9 and the fourth was 5 seconds. His final run was completed in just 3 seconds from start to finish. And the targets weren't just hit in vital areas. The kunai and shuriken went through the targets, the walls and the trees behind those walls. Before finally coming to a stop in some trees that were around 300 feet away from where they had been thrown from. Needless to say, Naruto passed the first trial. Well, I can honestly say that I didn't expect that. Asuma replied. His cigarette having long since fallen out of his mouth from the surprise. His classmates were no better off. As they were all currently trying process what they had just witnessed. Oh, well. Onto your next trial. You all need to head to the sparring arena now. And good job, everyone. Asuma said. The class made their way over to the sparring arena where they were greeted with the sight of bushy brows. Naruto cheered. Oh. Hello, again my youthful friend. Gai greeted Naruto. I did those exercises you taught me. Excellent job my young friend. Maybe one day you can train with my apprentice and me as we travel down the springtime of our youths. Gai exclaimed in his nice guy pose. Really, that would be awesome. Indeed it would. Though for now, we must get these trials out of the way. Oh right. While this conversation was going on, Naruto's class was looking between the two in confusion. How does the dope know Jonin? Sasuke thought. Oh my god. Those eyebrows, that hair, that gag outfit, I'm going to need bleach to get rid of this image. Sakura thought. I wonder if there are any BBQ chips in the cafeteria. That was Choji, enough said. My name is Mike Guy. And today my youthful friends. We will be having a sparring tournament. So, who wants to be my first volunteers? Come up and let your youthful flames clash against one another and let's see whose burns brightest. Guy yelled. I challenge the dope. Sasuke snarled while looking at the blonde. I'm unfamiliar with this dope you speak of. Is that a classmate of yours? He means me, Guy-sensei. Ah, Naruto. Very well then, up you come. The two headed into the ring. The rules are simple. If you win 3 fights, you pass. But if you lose 3 fights, you fail the trial and are kicked from the ninja program. Any questions? Guy asked before he allowed the fight to start. Any rules during the match that we should be aware of? Shino asked. S. The good question my creepy friend. No death blows and no serious injuries allowed. Otherwise, fight until one of you cannot move or is ejected from the ring. Any more questions? Why did you call me creepy? Don't take it personally my creepy friend. Your father creeps me out too. I see. Enough with the questions, let's fight dope. Sasuke yelled as he charged at Naruto. Well, he would have if not for one little problem. Tap. Naruto had vanished from his spot before Sasuke had taken his first step, reached him before he could blink, and had lightly pushed his chest. Though at the speed he was moving, it had felt like he just got hit by a cannonball. That light push propelled Sasuke out of the ring and onto the hard ground, where he rolled until he impacted the trunk of a tree, rendering him unconscious. Naruto, while standing where Sasuke was just a second ago, turned to his classmates and asked. Anyone else wanna have a go? Everyone shakes their heads. Star. Very well done my young friend. Who's your next opponent? They don't want to fight me. Oh? Why does no one want to fight Naruto? He asked the class. Their response was to collectively take 2 steps back. I frowned at their behavior but otherwise didn't do anything. Most unyouthful of you all. he yelled before looking back at Naruto. I'm sorry for that most unsatisfying match, Naruto. That's okay. I haven't had a good fight in this class in ever. Then how about after the trials are completely over? You come and train with me and my apprentice. Wait, you were serious? Of course I was. You can join us anytime you like, Gai said in his nice guy pose. Thanks Gai-sensei. Naruto cheered as he jumped off of the stage so the next fight could get underway. Shikamaru, Nara and Kiba and Yuzuka. You're up. The rest of the student went up to fight one by one until, by the end of this trial, the number of potential ninja had dropped from 20 to 15. Sasuke, unfortunately, woke up and demanded to fight Naruto again. He was denied on the grounds that Naruto had already been declared to have passed. So he took his frustration out on some civilian students. And ultimately passed as well. Very well done. That concludes the day's testing as your next trials won't begin until tomorrow. So, my young friends, go home and rest for today. Goodbye. Gai yelled before vanishing in a burst of speed. The class separated and went home for the day. Well, Naruto went to exercise. But the rest went home to sleep. Hokage's office. Hiruzen, Asuma and Gai had been inside talking about the new ninja trainees. And as they worked their way down the list they finally got to Naruto's name. So, Gai, Asuma. What did you think of Naruto Uzumaki? Hiruzen asked. His ever-present pipe hanging from his mouth. Asuma and Gai looked at each other. It was Asuma that broke the silence. That boy is well in a word. He's a monster. Oh? How so, Asuma? He completed the obstacle course in 44 seconds. Hokage-sama. Well, that is impressive, Asuma. I don't see how that means he's a monster. We have plenty of ninja who can do the same. What was his collective time? Hokage-sama, that was his collective time. Hiruzen accidentally inhaled too sharply and his pipe hit the back of his throat, causing him to have a coughing fit. Cough, are you certain? Yes, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen took a few deep breaths before looking at Gai. I confess to having only seen a brief explosion of his flames of youth, Hokage-sama. English, Gai. He only needed to fight one round, Hokage-sama. The other children refused to fight him, so I let him pass. Gai replied in a much calmer fashion this time. Sai Hiruzen rubbed the bridge of his nose. I see, very well. You are dismissed. Yes sir. Hokage-sama. The two saluted before disappearing. I'm starting to believe that putting him in a team with other children might be a bad idea, Hiruzen tiredly said as he looked out over his village. The next day. The kids had all reassembled in the classroom. And while most were eager to begin the final trials, some weren't so eager. I don't know if I can do this anymore, Ino. I almost failed both the first and second trials. And I just know that if I had fought one of the clan kids, I would have failed the second. Sakura complained. Don't be so hard on yourself, forehead. You were ahead of the other civilian kids by a lot. I'm sure that if you keep going, you'll get that headband. Sasuke is mine though, so don't go getting any bright ideas. Snickerino turned her head, saw that it was Naruto that had laughed. What's so funny, Baka? She snarled. Her outburst having drawn Sakura's attention. What happened, Ino? Sakura asked. Naruto, over there. Finds what I said about Sasuke being mine funny. Oh, well it's obvious why then, isn't it? How so? Because Sasuke is mine, Ino pig. The two started to bicker. Completely forgetting about Naruto. Why can't the two of them understand that he's not interested in them or any of the other girls? Now that I think about it, I'm the only one he seems to pay attention to. Is he gay? Naruto wondered to himself. Glancing to his left he saw Sasuke staring at him. So was Hinata, but he couldn't see her. That's so creepy. If you have something to say, just say it. And stop staring at me. Achoo. Are you okay, Hinata? You're not coming down with something, are you? Naruto looked at Hinata and asked. Her face turned scarlet red. In order to hide it, she slammed her face down on the deck and covered her head. Whoa. Hinata, are you okay? Naruto hurriedly stood up and walked to where she was sitting. Where he crouched down to her eye level. Hey, Hinata-chan. Are you okay? He quietly asked. He didn't realize the effects his words had on her. He called me Chan. She internally celebrated. Her face eventually getting so red so looked like an overripe tomato. Naruto, oblivious to this, continued to call her name and poke her arm. Hinata-chan, come on answer me. He would whine into her ear. Eek. His mouth is right beside my cheek. Is he going to kiss it? Yeah. She was off in her own little world. The door slid open and a woman with long black hair and red eyes walked in. Attention everyone. She yelled to get their attention. Which she got after only a few seconds. Thank you. Now, my name is Kurina Yuhi Jonin and the examiner for your third trial. Please, all of you stand up and follow me. We are heading to the gym. The class stood up and followed her out the door. Except Hinata, who Naruto thought was unconscious. So he just picked her up and carried her. And let's be honest, she definitely isn't going to move now. Upon reaching the gym and heading inside, they noticed several small covered rooms had been built inside. "Kurenai-sensei, what are the rooms for?" Sakura asked. "That will be explained momentarily. We must wait on everyone to arrive." "Okay, sensei." Sakura agreed. Then she headed over to where Ino and some of her friends were standing. They only had to wait for about 10 minutes before a door at the other end of the building opened. "Thank you for bringing them here, Kurenai." "Yes, Hokage-sama." Tsurutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, had come to see their trial. Most of the class wondered. "Let's see if you can guess which is which." "HNN, he's probably here to see how strong I am before he assigns me the mission I need so I can kill my brother. Should be obvious." "I'm hungry." "Again, shouldn't eat too hard." "Why is Hokage-sama here?" "I bet it's because of Sasuke-kun." Cough and girl cough. "Hey. It's Gigi. He's not still mad about the paint bomb I threw into his window this morning, is he?" Hiruzen glared at this person for a moment. "Yep, he's still mad." "Blonde menace." Hiruzen mumbled. "I'm sorry, Hokage-sama." "Nothing, Kurenai." "Ahem, good morning class." "Morning, Hokage-sama." "Today, you begin your final trials before we issue your headband." "Is that what the rooms are for, Hokage-sama?" "Indeed they are, miss." "Haruno, Sakura Haruno." "Ah, yes, Mibuyuki and Kazashi's daughter. You're correct, the rooms you see before you are part of your trial." "Kurenai, would you like to explain?" "Yes, Hokage-sama. The rooms you see before you each have a machine in it that will test certain aspects of your body in order to determine where you rank as a ninja." "Does that mean we can skip Gen and Kiba?" asked. Though most of the class were also wondering the same thing. "No, all ninja, regardless of power level, must go through the ranks properly. These machines are simply used to tell us what you're best at and where you can improve. However, you have to rank at least Genin in 3 of the 4 rooms to pass this trial." Class groans. Now, none of that. Think of it as a friendly competition between you to see who can get the higher score. In that case, the others shouldn't even try. It's obvious who's going to win. Guess who? "That very well may be the case, Sasuke. We won't know until we're tested though." Shino responded in his usual monotone. "I'm going first then." Kiba yelled before he ran inside the closest room. The rest of the class followed along until Kurenai stopped them. "Only one student at a time. Get in a single file line and wait your turn. You'll all go whether you want to or not." Though she said the last bit quietly, it still sent a chill down the class's spines. A few minutes passed before Kiba exited the first room and he looked exhausted. "Please continue on to the next room, Mr. Inyazuka." "And no talking," Kurenai coldly said, causing Kiba to whimper. He still followed orders though. The rest of the class followed in his steps one by one, until Naruto was the only one left to have not gone. "Your turn, Naruto." "Yes, Gigi," he yelled. He had been waiting for this moment for over an hour now. He walked up to the first room, pushed the curtain aside and headed in. Once inside, he saw a large machine with a computer screen on the front of it. To its left side was a much smaller machine with a hole on the front of it that was about the size of Naruto's arm. "Please put your arm inside the machine, Naruto. This machine will determine how much chakra you have and how dense it is," Kurenai said over the intercom. "Yes, Kurenai-sensei," he replied back, before rolling up his left sleeve and sliding his arm in as far as it would go. When he felt a slight pull on his chakra reserves coming from the machine. "Do not worry if you almost run out of chakra. The purpose of this machine is to drain you to the lowest point you can get before passing out. Can you speed this up please?" "Why? It shouldn't take more than a few minutes." "Because it feels like you're taking just enough to do a clone jutsu from me." "Come again?" "I normally use more chakra than this to do my clone jutsu." Kurenai was shocked. From her place at the monitoring terminal, she could see just how much chakra had already been taken from the blonde. And it was more than most Chunin had. "Okage-sama, you need to see this," she called out. A few seconds later, Hiruzen arrived by her side. "What is it?" "Take a look at this, sir." She pointed at the screen. The number was still rapidly climbing, even though he had already passed Akibetsu Jonin level chakra reserves. "So that's why he could never do the clone jutsu," Hiruzen muttered. "Sir? Naruto has never been able to successfully use the clone jutsu and I think that may be to blame." He motioned to the screen where the number was rapidly approaching cage level reserves. As they watched the number climb higher, it passed cage level and into the S-class level. "Okage-sama, could this be because of that?" Hiruzen just smiled. "No, this is all him." He replied as the number finally came to a stop at 500,000 CP. Chakra points and was 10 times as dense as his own chakra. Look at that, he's not even tired yet. That's because the machine only goes up to that much. Are you saying that it's even higher than that? That's exactly what I'm saying, Kurenai. Hiruzen grabbed the microphone. Very good, Naruto. Proceed to the next room. Yes, Jiji. Tell no one, am I clear? Yes, Hokage-sama. The two of them watched another screen as he entered the second room. Inside was another machine, this one was spread out along the walls on both sides of the door. This machine will test your reflexes and dodging speed, Naruto. If you get hit 10 times you fail, understood? Yes. Machine will begin firing in 3, 2, 1 go. When Kurenai finished her countdown, small plastic balls filled with red paint were fired out of the holes along the machine's surface at Naruto. He stood in one place until right before they reached him. Then his right arm started to blur while the rest of him, aside from his eyes, remained motionless. It went on like that for 5 minutes before the machine ran out of balls to shoot. And at Naruto's feet was a small mountain of paint-filled balls that he had caught and then dropped. That's amazing. Yes, Hokage-sama. But how did he manage that at his age? An experienced jonin, I could understand being able to do such a thing. Though she would struggle with it herself. But a kid who hasn't even made genin yet. Naruto is unique. He has spent every day since he was 5, working his body to its utmost limit. This doesn't surprise me nearly as much as his chakra did. I see. Good job, Naruto. Next room please. Yes. In the next room, there was a table with a dark vest laying on it. What's this for, Jiji? The vest is covered in a gravity sealing matrix. What will that do? It will be used to see just how much weight you can hold and for how long. Okay. Naruto picked up the vest and slid it on over his clothes. Activate it slowly, Kurenai. Let's see just how strong he really is. Yes, Hokage-sama. She activated the gravity seals by placing her hands in the ram sign and slowly turned them on. But Naruto appeared to have not noticed. Kurenai, did you turn them on? Yes sir. What is it at currently? Kurenai. It's going up by 10 pounds per second sir. The floor is a giant scale used to measure how heavy the seals make Naruto. Hiruzen looked over and saw that the screen said that Naruto weighed 1,000 pounds more than he did when he walked into the room. And that number was rising rapidly. A few minutes passed before Hiruzen decided to end the test. To the end, Naruto never noticed what happened. When he stopped the test and told Naruto to go to the final room, the scale was saying that Naruto weighed over 10,000 pounds more than he did at the start. When Naruto walked into the final room, all he saw was a round pad mounted on a steel beam embedded into the floor. This is a simple punching machine, Naruto. I want you to hit it as hard as you possibly can. Can I really? Yes, you can hit it as hard as you can. This is what Gai uses to train his apprentice. Yada. Naruto yelled as he prepared to throw his punch. Pause. If you have seen Op Man you know this was probably a bad idea. He slid his right leg forward while pulling his left back and he brought both arms up in front of his chin. He bounced in place for a few seconds before. Serious punch. That punch forever scarred the minds of Kurenai and Hiruzen. The moment he launched his punch and it started to pick up speed, the air exploded behind him. The arc his fist traveled in left behind the smell of ozone as it burned the air. The water molecules in the air in front of his fist evaporated. And when he made contact, whoosh. The pad and beam both turned to ash due to the force of his fist. As did the wall behind the pad, the floor and wall of the gym behind that wall. Then 200 feet of woodlands outside of the gym were left a barren wasteland. The trees had all been either vaporized or sent flying. The ground had a large circular scar radiating outwards from where the punch was thrown from, getting bigger the farther away it got. Until it finally came to a stop. And all of that was because Hiruzen told him to punch as hard as he could. And this was at 12 years old, with no formal training in chakra amplification or any taijutsu techniques. Oh my god, Kurenai exclaimed before she covered her mouth. That is a apt statement, Kurenai. Hiruzen agreed. He retook the microphone. Naruto, rejoin your classmates, please. Sorry about that, Jiji. I got too excited about finally being able to hit something as hard as I could. It's okay, Naruto. Just promise me you won't do that in the more populated areas of the village, okay? I promise, Jiji. Good. Now, because your tests were taking so long, we send your classmates ahead to the next trial. You can sit this one out if you'd like, as you've already passed the number of trials necessary to become a ninja. Is it okay if I go for the last trial anyway? Of course it is. Though regardless, if you pass this trial or not, you are already a ninja of the village. The trial is taking place at Training Ground 7. Thanks Jiji. Naruto cheered as he ran out of the gym. That Tenzo over here to fix this before someone sees. Yes, Hokage-sama. You always make my life more interesting, Naruto. Hiruzen thought as he vanished in a leaf whirlwind. Training Ground 7. After arriving at Training Ground 7, he found most of his classmates standing in groups of 3. What's going on? Naruto asked as he walked over to where Kiba, Shikamaru, and Choji were standing. There you are, Naruto. Where were you? Shikamaru asked. It took a while to complete the last trial. I came as soon as I could though. I knew you would pass. Sasuke has been telling everyone that your scores were so bad they probably kicked you out of the trial. Choji said while munching on some chips. Did he now? Naruto's eyes narrowed. Do you know what this trial is? Kiba asked. No, what are we doing? The Jonin, Kakashi Haddock, is running this trial. And he told us to form groups of 3 in preparation to begin our trial. Shikamaru. So, I have to find 2 people to partner with. No, there are only 2 people left after all. Boo. Shino and Hinata. Kiba. What? Why are they the only 2 left? They're strong. The 3 boys glanced at each other before Shikamaru broke the silence. Sigh, everyone looks down on Hinata because of how timid she is. And Shino just creeps everyone out. Fine then. I'm going to go join up with them. Naruto yelled. We'll show them just how strong they are. He snarled as he made his way over to where Hinata and Shino were standing. Hey, Hinata-chan. Hey Shino. I'm with you too. If you don't mind that is. He asked after having made his way over. I do not mind. Shino. Then not at all, Naruto. Hinata. Great. So where did the Jonin go? Glad you could join us, Blondie. Ah. Naruto fell over after he heard a voice whisper in his ear. Still doing that, huh? Naruto looked up at the Jonin, and the first thing he saw was the silver gravity defying, because, screw gravity, right. Hair. Hey, I remember you. You're Bushy Brow Sensei's friend. I guess you could say that. Though the name is Kakashi Haddock. And I'm your examiner for the last trial. Kakashi walked to the center of the clearing and called all of the groups over. Listen up everyone. Your trial for today is simple. 5 Chunin walked into the middle to stand behind Kakashi. These ninja, 2 of which you may recognize, Haruka and Mizuki, are here today to help simulate a mission you may be asked to complete. What's the mission, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura. Capture and retrieval. What are we capturing and what do we retrieve? Shikamaru. Each team is assigned 1 Chunin that you must bring back to me alive, and you must also retrieve an object that he has stolen. The 5 Chunin walked forward to greet their respective groups. Looks like you 3 are with me. Mizuki said with a smile as he walked up to Naruto, Hinata, and Shino. However, everyone got quiet again. There has been a special condition added onto this trial by Hokage-sama. What is it? Kiba asked. Whichever group completes this trial first, if any of you can, will be allowed to choose 1 jutsu each from the Hokage's personal library. That started a big commotion. And everyone was talking about which jutsu they would pick when they won. Chunin, you have a 30-second head start, better make it count. The 5 took off into the forest at high speeds. Don't worry you 2. We'll find him first, Shino quietly said. How? Naruto asked. Shino held up a finger that had a tiny beetle on it. My hive can always find one of their own. So no matter how far he runs, he can't hide from me. And with my Byakugan, I'll be able to see if he uses chakra. Hinata muttered. Excellent, then you just leave the catching up to him part to me. Naruto said with a smile as he placed his arms on their backs. Ninja. You have 3 hours to catch your Chunin or you fail. And they aren't going to just let you catch them either, so be prepared for a fight. All of the kids got into position. Shino noticed that Naruto still had his arms on his and Hinata's backs. Naruto, what are you doing? When Kakashi yelled go, Naruto grabbed hold of the 2 of them and jumped. The ground caved in where they were just standing, and they were flying through the sky in just under 2 seconds. Naruto held onto them tightly while they were soaring through the sky. Didn't want them to get left behind after all. Where is he? Naruto yelled over the wind. He is over there. How are we going to land now? Shino asked. What do you mean land? So, we are going to crash then? Nah, I'm just joking with you, Shino. I do this all the time. Okay then. The 3 of them soon caught up to Mizuki. So before Naruto passed him, he pushed Hinata and Shino a little further away from himself. To Hinata's disappointment. And he kicked the air at such speed that it propelled them back towards the earth on a collision course with Mizuki. Mizuki heard Naruto's kick break the sound barrier, so he looked up just in time to see them about to crash into him. Whoa. He ducked and rolled to the side to avoid them. Naruto flipped his body around so that his feet would hit the ground first. And when they did, he continued running a little bit to kill their momentum. So he wouldn't hurt Shino and Hinata. Before doubling back to take on Mizuki. Hey, Mizuki-sensei. We're going to need you to come with us. Naruto said as he sat down his cargo. Rita's teammates. Laughs, not likely brat. Mizuki responded as he grabbed the big shuriken off his back to prepare to throw it. Add until Naruto appeared behind him and tapped his back, sending him rolling along the ground until Hinata stopped him by hitting him in his tenketsu, rendering him unable to move. So want to go back the fun way, or walk? Shino seemed to want to throw up. Hinata didn't seem to mind too much though. Let's walk, please. Okay. Naruto easily agreed as he bent down and picked Mizuki up. Wait, does he have what we were supposed to retrieve? Shino asked. Hinata used her Byakugan to check his pockets and found a stone with the word retrieve written on it. It looks like that was enough for Naruto. So he just continued carrying Mizuki until they reached training ground 7 once again. We're back, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi looked up from his book to see Naruto, Hinata, and Shino walking into the clearing. And Mizuki was slung over Naruto's shoulder. Did you also get the item back? Yes sir. Naruto replied as he reached inside Mizuki's satchel to pull out the stone. Very good you three, you pass. In first place too. Head on home, but meet back at the academy tomorrow morning to see if you get your headbands. Yes sir, the three of them responded. Hey, Hinata, Shino. Want to go get some ramen with me? Sure. Shino. Hey alright. Hinata. And Naruto. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. How about before you go off to celebrate, you leave Mizuki here, That was when Naruto realized he was still carrying Mizuki. He's sorry about that, Mizuki-sensei. He sat Mizuki down, and the three went off to eat ramen at Ichiraku's before splitting up and heading to their respective homes. Naruto had been heading home after his trip to Ichiraku's with Hinata and Shino, when he remembered that he hadn't yet done his daily exercise. So instead of heading home, he went to his workout spot, that being the top of the Hokage mountain. Except for running. For that he just did laps around the village. After arriving at his destination he began his several-hour-long workout that he would be doing until late into the night. Just after midnight, Naruto was just finishing up his 7th set of push-ups when he heard the alarm go off. Alarm blaring. What's that? He wondered. After standing up and brushing his hands off, he walked to the edge of the 4th Hokage's head to look down at the village. Did something happen? I better go find Gigi. He thought before he slightly bent his knees and jumped high into the sky. His destination was the roof of the Hokage Tower. But Hiruzen and the ninja. Attention everyone. A nameless jonin yelled. We have been informed that Naruto Uzumaki has stolen the scroll of seals. As such, everyone is to split up, find him, and return the scroll. He continued. Do not attack him. If you find him, tell him to come see me. Is that clear? Hiruzen said. Yes, Hokage-sama. The gathered ninja yell. Though the majority of the Leafs ninja were currently out on missions or were working in other parts of the village. 100 ninja answered the Hokage's summons at this late hour. Among them were Iruka and Mizuki. I don't understand why he would do this, Mizuki. According to the Jonin, Naruto passed all of the trials by such a margin that they believed he should just be made a chunin at the very least. So why would he ruin his chances at this point? Iruka asked. Maybe it's just in his nature, Iruka. You know what he is. Maybe that thing affects him more than he led us to believe. How else do you explain that freakish strength of his? Mizuki asked. His pride as a shinobi had been torn apart after his treatment at the hands of the blonde. He worked harder than anyone. That's where his strength comes from and not that thing. Iruka yelled at his friend. All I'm saying, Iruka, is that maybe he isn't who you thought he was. Naruto may be a lot of things. He's hyperactive, stubborn, a menace to our peaceful days, but he's no liar. I believe that if he did take the scroll, he had a reason for it. As do I, Iruka. Hokage-sama. Iruka and Mizuki greeted Hiruzen, who had overheard Iruka's speech and decided to come over. How can you be so certain, Hokage-sama? Mizuki asked. I've known that child since he was born. And in all that time, I've never known him to have malicious intent towards the village or its inhabitants. Despite their intent towards him, he has always had one objective in mind. What's that, Hokage-sama? Mizuki asked. Hiruzen had a small smile flit across his face for a moment before a look of neutrality replaced it. He desires to protect the people he cares about. That strength he possesses was gained solely for the sake of his precious people. He also doesn't want to be forgotten again. He added in his mind. Maybe he decided to take a shortcut to gain that power. Mizuki asked, sweat starting to form on his brow. He hoped they would spend the night hunting for the blonde brat while he made his getaway. But if this was how the Hokage felt about him, maybe his plan wasn't as foolproof as he thought. Regardless, find him, but do not attack him. I want him brought to me unharmed, understood? Yes sir, they saluted before hopping away. Iruka, let's split up to cover more ground. Alright. He agreed, hopping in one direction while Mizuki went in the other. With Naruto. Naruto had been in the air for about 30 seconds, just looking down on the village. He watched as the ninja from the gathering divided into groups and spread out over the village. And using his chakra-enhanced hearing, he had listened in on Iruka, Mizuki, and Hiruzen's conversation about him. I never knew Iruka-sensei thought about me that way, he whispered. Sure, the two of them had gone out for ramen a few times. But all this time, Naruto had assumed he was just another student to Iruka. Gigi, I can understand. He knows me better than anyone. It is nice to hear his thoughts though. He thought as he came in for his landing. Flipping in the air so that his feet would touch first, he softly touched down on the roof of the Hokage Tower. He walked over to just above the balcony, then dropped down and waited for Hiruzen to show up in his office. Luckily, he didn't have to wait long. As after only 5 minutes of waiting, Hiruzen arrived. After opening the window, Naruto charged in. Gigi, I need to talk to YoHMPH. Naruto had tried to tell Hiruzen that he didn't have this scroll they were looking for. But one of Hiruzen's Anbu guards attacked before he could finish. The Anbu got in a lucky shot while Naruto's guard was down. Why would his Gigi attack him, after all? Hitting Naruto on the back of his head with the blunt side of their sword. They had hoped to knock him out in one shot. They failed, spectacularly. After noticing that their blade had broken over the blonde's skull and that the blonde had turned to face them, they chose to engage with him in Taijutsu, as the space was too confined for ninjutsu to be effective. Leading off with a front kick aimed at Naruto's stomach, they attempted to quickly pacify him before he could attack the Hokage. In their mind. And it was at this time that the other 3 Anbu guards jumped in as well. Naruto grabbed the first Anbu's leg via the ankle and spun them in a circle around him, catching the other 3 in the process. Before letting go and watching the 4 of them go sailing out the window he entered through. I'm sure they'll be fine. Is there a reason you're bullying my ninja, Naruto? Hiruzen asked as he lit his pipe. See, he's not worried either. Sorry Gigi. He said while rubbing the back of his head. It's fine, I gave them specific orders not to attack you. So it was warranted. Hiruzen replied while looking between the broken blade on the floor and Naruto. I don't remember that being there when I entered. Hiruzen said. Naruto asked with a tilt of his head. So Hiruzen pointed at the blade. Oh. That's what your Anbu hit me with, I guess. What? Are you okay? You're not bleeding anywhere, Hiruzen asked, panic on his face. I'm fine, Gigi. My head's pretty hard. Naruto said as he knocked on the top of his head to demonstrate. If a sword wielded by one of my Anbu broke over your head, I'm not sure hard is an adequate description. Hiruzen thought with a deadpan look coming over his face, replacing the panic. Huffing, are you here to return the scroll? Hiruzen asked while puffing on his pipe. And trying to ignore the implications of steel breaking over the blonde's head. Oh, right. That's what I came here to tell you, Gigi. I never had the scroll. Naruto replied. Oh? Then why did I receive a report earlier tonight stating that you had broken into my personal vault and were seen fleeing the scene with the scroll on your back? Huffing, tell me, Naruto. Where were you earlier tonight? Hiruzen wanted to believe the blonde. But he had to make sure before he moved on to the next suspect. Well, after the last trial today, I went out to eat ramen with Shino and Hinata. After that, I went to the Hokage mountain and started exercising. That's where I was for the rest of the day, Gigi. So someone knew Naruto was going to be out of sight for the rest of the day and decided to use the transformation jutsu to frame him. But who? Naruto? Yes, Gigi? Naruto asked. Bring me Mizuki, he was the one to file the report. I want to see what he knows. Yes, Gigi. Naruto was about to start running when Hiruzen called out to him again. Oh, and Naruto. Yes. If Mizuki refuses to come quietly, feel free to use force. How much force, and why wouldn't he come? As long as he can answer my questions as much as you like. As for the why that scroll is dangerous, Naruto. We have to get it back. How dangerous, Gigi? Dangerous enough that it could mean disaster for this village. Hiruzen glumly replied. I see a dangerous smile spread across Naruto's face before he jumped out the window and into the night sky. But Mizuki. After splitting from Iruka, Mizuki had cut across the village to where he stashed the scroll of seals in the red light district. Upon retrieving it, he made a mad dash for the exit. It was only after he arrived at the exit that he noticed it was heavily guarded. Turning and making another run for it, he hoped he could get out through the secret tunnel he had been told about. Why he didn't go there first is anyone's guess. Running at the speed he was, and for how long he had maintained it, caused him to grow slightly tired. Out of shape much. Almost there. He said to himself. Almost where, Mizuki-sensei? A voice asked from behind him. To the secret exit I was told about. Mizuki's mind was telling him something was wrong, but he couldn't think of what. Or he's just dumb, to begin with. And who told you about this exit? It was Cabot. His mind finally figured out what was wrong. Looking behind him, he saw Naruto keeping pace with his frantic sprint, almost casually. Actually, Mizuki thought Naruto looked bored while running behind him. "Oopsie, you caught me, Mizuki-sensei," Naruto said with a smile. When Mizuki came to a stop, Naruto copied him. Panting, "What are you doing here?" he yelled, looking around to see if any other ninja had followed him. Following you, Mizuki-sensei," was Naruto's answer. "I'm lucky he's such an idiot, otherwise this could have ended badly," Mizuki thought, a sneer appearing on his face for an instant. Before being replaced by a look of friendliness. "Why do you have that large scroll on your back, Mizuki-sensei?" "Never mind that, Naruto. Say, did you ever wonder why the village treated you the way they did?" "Yes, why? Do you know why they treat me that way?" Naruto asked, his normally smiling face being suppressed by the question. "I'm not supposed to say, orders of the Hokage." "Tell me, Mizuki." A chill went down Mizuki's spine from the look that had appeared on Naruto's face. Total apathy. He had seen looks like that on war veterans, but never on someone the blonde's age. "This brat thinks he can intimidate me. I'm a goddamn Chunin if he thinks I'm scared of this. Then I've got something to wipe him of that assumption." Mizuki snarled inside his mind. "Do you remember the stories we used to tell your class about how the Kyuubi destroyed most of the village? And it was only thanks to the fourth Hokage that we survived. You said he killed it, then died of his wounds shortly after. That part is slightly wrong." "How so?" "The fourth didn't kill the Kyuubi, he just turned him into you. Died, demon brat," Mizuki roared as he yanked the Fuma shuriken off his back and prepared to throw it. "That's just stupid. They treated me that way because I'm the Kyuubi," Naruto wondered. When he snapped out of his confusion, Mizuki had already thrown his Fuma shuriken. So, Naruto simply caught it between his thumb and forefinger. Then redirected it back at Mizuki with a flick of his wrist. Mizuki ducked under the blade and came up ready for a fight. Naruto was nowhere to be seen though. "Gigi wanted me to bring you back to him. He also said that I could use as much force as I wanted. And though I really want to just punch you right now, I did promise to bring you back alive," Naruto said from behind him. Mizuki spun around with a backhand aimed at Naruto's face. It was stopped with one hand. Naruto grabbed Mizuki's wrist and started to slightly squeeze. Mizuki-sensei," Naruto said with a smile on his face. "Gulps what?" He could feel his bones creaking. "I got you," Naruto said, his smile getting wider. Can you just let me go?" he asked. Only now starting to think that maybe this wasn't such a great idea. "Nope." When Naruto answered, Mizuki was lifted off the ground and held above the blonde's head before being viciously slammed into the ground on Naruto's other side. "Ah!" Mizuki felt his bones break and blood shoot from his mouth. Naruto didn't stop though. He just lifted him again and repeated his action several times. Wham 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 wham. After the final slam, Mizuki was little more than a pile of mush. He was still alive though. Just in a lot of pain. So Naruto lifted him up so he could see Mizuki's eyes. "You took something from my Jiji, Mizuki, something that, if it had fallen into the wrong hands, would have meant disaster for him and the rest of the people I care about. Remember that the next time you try to steal something. I don't care what happens to most of this village, but if you or anyone else harm the people I care about, I'll kill them." Naruto roared in Mizuki's face. A cloak of red flickered over the blonde's body before it quickly disappeared. "I always knew you were a demon," were Mizuki's last thoughts before he passed out from the pain. "What's that smell?" Naruto asked as he sniffed the air. "Sniff sniff, you." He shit on himself. "That's just nasty, Mizuki," Naruto yelled before jumping off into the night sky, bringing Mizuki along with him. With Hiruzen. Hiruzen had been waiting patiently for Naruto's return. He had no doubt that he would succeed in his mission when he heard a thump coming from his balcony. "So you've returned, Naruto. Oh my god. What is that smell?" Hiruzen asked, covering his nose with his sleeves. "Mizuki." Hiruzen nodded before ordering his Anbu to get that smell. Rita's person. Out of his office. And though they glared at the blonde for a moment, they followed their orders. "Told you they would be fine. Tell me everything." So Naruto did. He told him how he found Mizuki, what Mizuki had told him, and his subsequent manhandling of the Chunin. "I see, so now you know the truth," Hiruzen solemnly said. "Were you ever going to tell me?" the blonde asked. Hiruzen could hear the pain in his voice. "I was." Hiruzen nodded. "When?" "After you received your genin headband tomorrow." "Why didn't you tell me before now?" The pain in his voice was clearing up. "You were too young to know the truth. I didn't want you saying something to the wrong person and getting hurt." "Oh. There's something else you should know." "What is it, Jiji?" "I know who your parents are." "What? But you told me that you didn't know," Naruto accused. I did, and I apologize for that. Naruto slightly calmed down. So who were they? I can't tell you yet. I swore to them that I would follow their will, and you were not to know who they were until you reached Chunin rank. You're not telling me, are you? Not tonight, I'm afraid. I must follow their will. Whines all, come on Gigi. Can't you just give me a hint? Tuckles, no, I'm afraid I can't. Sigh, fine then, I'm going home. Night Gigi. See you tomorrow. Naruto jumped out of the window again, on his way home. Good night Naruto. Sir? One of the Anbu said to get Hiruzen's attention. Yes. The scroll of seals has been successfully recovered and Mizuki has been taken to the emergency hospital wing, where he'll be questioned in the morning. But good. Any word on what he planned to do with the scroll? None yet, sir. Mizuki was not in good condition when we brought him to the hospital. He hasn't spoken a word since he was brought to you. Keep me updated. Yawns, I'm going to retire for the night. Yes, Hokage-sama. After the Hokage left the room, the Anbu began talking. You're lucky you had a faulty blade, Nico. Otherwise, you may have killed the boy. A large Anbu with a bear mask said to a much smaller Anbu wearing a cat mask. There was nothing wrong with my sword, Kuma. Nico snarled. Obviously there was, how else do you explain it, shattering over his head? Tora, an Anbu with a tiger mask, asked. I don't know. I've had that sword for years and never had any problems with it. Nico. Maybe that's it then, it was just old. Tora. Or maybe there's something even more unique about that boy than just the Kyuubi. Kuma said as he thought back to the blonde easily throwing them out the window. Sigh, and to think I have to be his Jonin instructor after tomorrow. Nico complained. Tuckles, didn't you want to be a Jonin instructor, though? Tora. Not to someone like him. I wanted someone to pass my techniques down to. He's a brawler, not a swordsman. I'm sure it'll work out in the end, Nico. Give the kid a shot, okay? Kuma asked. Sigh, alright, I'll save my judgment for after we've been together a while. Don't expect much though, I may be back in here with you too after a few weeks if it doesn't work out. That's all anyone can ask of you, Nico. I just hope the blonde brat isn't as bad as they say he is. Nico thought. The next morning. The remaining students had all gathered inside the classroom again. It was finally time for them to get their headbands, so there was a lot of excitement coming from the students. We made it, Ino Pig. We're about to officially be ninja. Sakura squealed. I told you would do fine, forehead. Ino yelled back. It wasn't just them though. The other girls, minus Hinata, were in a group talking with each other. And all of them were hoping to be on Sasuke's team. All the 4 girls were celebrating. There are 5 girls and 10 guys. Hinata was at the back of the class talking with Shino. Why are you not over there with them, Hinata-san? Shino asked, motioning at the girls. I don't want to talk with them. They give Kunoichi a bad name with their fangirling. Pot calling the kettle black here. Are you not the same way about Naruto? Right. No. I am nothing like them. She yelled, startling Shino. I see, my apologies then. Sorry about that, Shino. It is fine, Hinata. Over with the guys. Minus Sasuke. We did it, Akamaru, we're about to be ninja. Kiba. Arf, Akamaru. Mumbles, so loud, Shikamaru. Munch, think we could go out for BBQ after this? Choji. Sounds like a plan. Kiba. And over with Sasuke. I will kill my brother and get my revenge for I think that's enough of that. The door to the classroom slides open to reveal Naruto standing there. Hey, everyone. We did it, we're going to be ninja now. He cheered as he ran around the classroom. Were you so happy, Naruto? You didn't even finish the last trial yesterday. So who knows if you passed or not? Sakura. What do you mean? We finished the last trial. There's no way you 3 caught a Chunin. Besides, Sasuke-kun finished first and he had to wait until the rest of the teams exited the forest. But we never saw you 3 leave. Ino. He didn't finish first, we did. Stop lying, Naruto. You may be a bit stronger than normal, but not even you could capture a Chunin. Sakura. Naruto-san is not lying, we did capture our Chunin and exit the forest first. Shino. Oh yeah? Then why weren't you waiting for the rest of us when we exited like Sasuke-kun was? Ino yelled. Perhaps we finished too soon, so he let us go instead of forcing us to wait. Shino said while pushing his glasses up. Then tell us, how long was too soon, huh? How fast did you supposedly catch your Chunin? Sakura joined in the yelling. They caught their Chunin in 15 minutes and 47 seconds. Kakashi said as he walked in the door followed by the other Jonin. That's impossible. Sasuke stood up from his seat. There's no way the dope, the creep, and the useless Hyuga caught a Chunin in that time. I don't even believe they caught him at all. Sasuke yelled. What you believe is irrelevant. What we tell you is the truth. Asuma replied, an unlit cigarette in his mouth. Scoffs please, I'm stronger than the three of them combined. But, it took me 2 hours to catch my Chunin. 2 hours, 48 minutes and 32 seconds to be exact. Not bad for a genin. Still, doesn't change what actually happened though. Kakashi said with his face buried in a book. And, what happened exactly? Simple turns page you lost. I don't lose. I'm in a chair. And? You still lost kid, get over it. Asuma. Don't call me that. Sasuke snarled. Size I feel sorry for you Kakashi, you're stuck with him. Kurenai. Thanks for reminding me. Ahem everyone turned to see who had walked in the door and saw it was Hiruzen. The entire class stood to attention. Hello, Hokage-sama. Hey Jiji. Good morning everyone. I have here the list of students who will be part of the same team, as well as who your Jonin sensei will be. Skipping the first two as they are unimportant. The official team 7 will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Sai. Your Jonin sensei will be Kakashi Haddock. You're an assault team. Kakashi motioned for the three to stand in front of him. Teammate will consist of Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburam, and Kiba Inuzuka. Your Jonin sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi. You're a tracking team. She motioned for them to do the same. Team 9 is still in circulation as well. So Team 10 will consist of Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, and Ino Yamanaka. Your Jonin sensei will be Asuma Sarutobi. You're a capture and interrogation team. The three stood in front of him. That leaves you, Naruto Uzumaki. Because we have an odd number of people after the inclusion of Sai. I have decided that you will be on a 2-man emergency response team. Your Jonin sensei will be Yuga Yuzuki. The purple-haired woman walked in at that moment and motioned for him to stand with her. These are the genin teams that you will be working with for the remainder of your ninja career. You are now comrades in arms, fellow soldiers, and a part of the Konoha family. You will look out for each other. You will fight for each other. And should one of you go rogue, they will be the ones charged with bringing you back or killing you. Remember their faces well, for they are now your family. After the Hokage finished his speech, the Jonin stepped up to their students and one by one gave them their headbands. All teams, meet at training ground 7 in 3 hours. Use this time to get to know your teammates before you arrive at the training ground. Dismissed. Asuma said before he and the other Jonin walked out the door. Followed by their teams. Leaving Yugao, Naruto, and Hiruzen in the classroom. So you're the one who broke their sword over my head, huh? Naruto asked to break the silence. I don't know what you mean. I've never met you before today. She responded. Don't try to lie to him, Yugao. You'll want him to trust you from now on. Hiruzen said before he also left. Yes, I'm the one who broke their sword over your head, why? Are you mad that I did? She asked, genuinely curious. Nah. I'm not so easy to piss off. Besides, you weren't trying to kill me, were you? If I were, would I have used the back of my blade? See? I knew it, he. Knew what? That you weren't actually trying to hurt me. That's why I just threw you instead of punching you. He replied with a bright smile. While she gets a deadpan look on her face. You threw me and 3 other Anbu out of an 8-story window. Sorry. Whatever, let's get out of here. Any place you know of where we can talk. Ichiraku's. Isn't that a raiment stand? Why would you want to go there? She had a feeling that she shouldn't have asked that question. Because it's only the greatest thing to ever happen to man or ninja kind. It's the food of the gods, the reason the earth spins, and the reason for life itself. But most importantly because it's ramen. He yelled before grabbing her wrist and jumping out the window. After running all the way to Ichiraku's. With Yugao being dragged behind. Naruto sat her down on a stool and situated himself beside her. Hey, old man. We've got a ramen emergency over here. What's the emergency, Naruto? Tucci, old man, Ichiraku asked as he came out of the back room. She doesn't know, old man. She asked why I come here. You've got to show her. Naruto begged. Laughs I'll see what I can do, Naruto. Tucci went into the back room for a few minutes. Before coming back out with one gigantic bowl and one smaller, Rita's normal-sized bowl. One miso ramen for the lady and the Naruto special, for you. He said with a smile. Thanks, old man. Naruto dug in while Yugao ate at a much slower pace. They sat there for an hour. She asked about Naruto's life, what he did for fun, his favorite food. Should have been obvious, and he asked the same in return. Then she asked if he knew any techniques. Wait, so you don't know any techniques besides the Academy 3? Nervous laugh I can only really do 2 of those. The transformation jutsu and the substitution jutsu. I've never been able to do the clone jutsu right. The Hokage told me about your problem. He did. So he knows why I can't do the clone jutsu? He asked. He does. Well, what's causing it? Simple, you have too much chakra. Too much chakra is a bad thing. Not necessarily. Having a lot of chakra can be a good thing if you have good control over it. So, if I learn to better control my chakra, I could do the clone jutsu. Nope. Naruto face faulted. But, you just said that if you could control your chakra, having a lot of chakra was a good thing. And it is. You, however, have way too much chakra to ever be able to do the clone jutsu, which requires barely any chakra at all, to perform. So you're saying I'll never be able to do the clone jutsu? Not necessarily, you just can't do the normal clone jutsu. What other kinds are there? Of just the clone jutsu? There are quite a few variants of the clone jutsu. There's elemental clones, illusion clones, and shadow clones. Just to name a few. Naruto tilted his head in confusion. The first two I understand, but what's a shadow clone? He had never heard of that one before. Yugao seemed to think for a moment before she said. I think we should make a stop by the Hokage Tower. Before we head to training field 7. Standing up after finishing her bowl of ramen. Come on, Naruto. If we go see him now maybe he won't be too busy. Hey wait. I haven't finished my ramen yet. Turning his bowl up he quickly slurped down the remaining noodles and broth. Bye old man. Tell him I said hi. Tuckles, will do, Naruto. You have a nice day hanging out with the pretty lady. Naruto blushed as he ran to catch up with Yugao. Are you okay, Naruto? Your face is red. She asked. Yep, totally fine. He quickly answered. After walking for a few minutes, Naruto remembered that she never answered his question. Hey, Yugao-sensei, what is the Shadow Clone Jutsu? The Shadow Clone Jutsu is a technique that creates an exact copy of the ninja who uses it. Doesn't the normal clone jutsu do that as well? That is where the difference lay. While they are both clones, the normal clone jutsu is just an illusion. The Shadow Clone Jutsu, however, is a solid clone. Capable of doing everything you can do, only not as durable. She explained. That's so cool. He said with stars in his eyes. I thought you might say that. She replied with a smile. Hokage Tower. Hokage's office. Hiruzen had only just returned from his own lunch when he was told he had visitors. Hokage-sama, Yugao Yuzuki and Naruto Uzumaki are here to see you. His assistant told him. Oh? Very well, send them in. She walked out of the room and a few seconds passed before Yugao and Naruto walked in. Hello, Hokage-sama. Yugao said while bowing. Hey Gigi. Naruto waved. Naruto. Show some respect to Hokage-sama. She admonished. Tuckle calm down Yugao, it's fine. He's called me that since he was little more than a toddler. If I had a problem with it, I would have stopped it long before now. Hiruzen replied. Yeah Yugao-sensei, calm down. Naruto joined in. Yes, Hokage-sama. Now, was there a reason you came to visit? I doubt this is a social call since I just saw you less than 2 hours ago. Hiruzen said as he lit his pipe and took a few puffs. Sir, I just wanted to pick out Naruto's jutsu scroll he was promised. Ah, I was wondering who would be the first to pick up their scroll. I take it then, that you believe him to be ready now. Yes, sir. Alright, follow me, you two. He stood up and walked over to a bookshelf where he pulled out a book from the very top. Click the bookcase lid open to reveal a room with shelves on every wall and scrolls scattered all over the floor. Don't mind the mess, I have yet to clean up after yesterday's incident. Yugao entered, completely ignoring the mess, while Naruto stayed back. Aren't you going in, Naruto? Nah, Yugao-sensei said she was going to pick the best one for me. And you trust her? Not really, I do trust you though. So if you trust her to teach me, then I'll learn to trust her too. Naruto answered with a smile. The smile grew on Hiruzen's face. I see. Yugao exited the room after only a few minutes of looking around. And with her, was the scroll of seals. Apologies, Hokage-sama. But I thought it would have been best to get it from the source. Which jutsu am I getting, Yugao-sensei? Naruto asked. The Shadow Clone Jutsu. The Shadow Clone Jutsu, most likely. Yugao and Hiruzen answered. But, why couldn't you teach it to me, Yugao-sensei? As I lack the chakra to perform the jutsu, I never bothered to learn the seals necessary to perform it. Naruto took the scroll from Yugao and sat down on the couch in the corner of the room. Before he opened it and began practicing the hand seals. After he found them, of course. Meanwhile, Hiruzen and Yugao sat down and talked. It has been quite a while since you last tried to learn the Shadow Clone Jutsu, Yugao. Who knows, you may be able to use it now. Perhaps I'll try again after I get him situated in his new role. Very well. The two would continue to talk for the remainder of their free time while Naruto tried to learn the Shadow Clone Jutsu and its variants. 45 minutes later. Oh. My apologies you two, but I have a lot of paperwork to complete. No problem, Gigi. I think I've got the hand seals memorized anyway. We also need to get going, Naruto. We're supposed to report to training field 7 in 15 minutes. Let's go then, Yugo-sensei. Bye Gigi. Naruto yelled as he jumped out the window. Sigh, that boy is too excitable. Tuckles, wait until you see him exercise. I think I'll manage. How hard could a genin's training regimen be? She asked before following Naruto out the window. You'll be surprised. Hiruzen mumbled. Training field 7. After everyone had arrived. Plus additional wait time for Kakashi. The Jonin decided to have everyone formally introduce themselves along with their specialty. I guess I'll begin. Asuma stepped up. My name is Asuma Sarutobi and I will be in charge of Bukijutsu and tactics, nice to meet you. I'm next then. My name is Kurana Yuhi and I will be in charge of Jinjutsu training, nice to meet you. Yugao Yazuki, sealing and first aid, pleased to meet you. Sai Kakashi Haddock, ninjutsu, and teamwork. Pursue Kakashi and your hip ways. The final Jonin yelled. Yosh. My name is Might Gai, Taijutsu, and your physical training regimens. Pleased to meet you, my youthful friends. After the Jonin introduced themselves and what they were in charge of, they had the students take turns introducing themselves as well. I guess we'll go in the same order our Jonin went in. Sakura. Murmured agreements. Yawn, let's get this out of the way then. I'm Shikamaru Nara, specialty is my clan's shadow possession jutsu. Pleased to meet you. Shikamaru then went to sleep. Munch Choji Akimichi, specialty is my clan's body expansion jutsu and eating. Pleased to meet you. Ino jumped up next. Ino Yamanaka, specialty is my clan's mind walking jutsu. Pleased to meet you. She finished with a wink in Sasuke's direction, which he ignored. My name is Hinata Hyuga and my specialty is my clan's gentle fist and my Byakugan. Please take care of me. She glanced at Naruto repeatedly throughout her introduction. Alright. My name is Kiba Inuzuka and this here's Akamaru, Arf. We specialize in Taijutsu and our clan's beast mimicry jutsu. Nice to meet ya. Shino Aburam, specialty is my clan's Kakechu. Nice to meet you. He finished with a bow. Sai, my specialty is my ink techniques. Nice to meet you. He added an incredibly creepy smile afterward. Sakura Haruno, I don't have a specialty. I have good chakra control though. HNN Sasuke Chiha, specialty is fire style jutsu and my Sharingan, once I awaken it. It's not your specialty if you can't even use it yet, you emo prick. Naruto yelled. Says you dope, what's your specialty anyway, annoying people to death. So says the guy who's never beaten me in a fight. Scoffs, once I unlock my Sharingan, you'll be shown just how inferior you are, dope. Boys, enough. Kurana yelled. Sorry. The name's Naruto Uzumaki, my specialty is fighting. Pleased to meet you. Yosh. My name is Rock Lee. Specialty is Taijutsu, nice to meet you. He yelled with a blinding smile. Tenten, Yuki Jutsu, and Sealing. Nice to meet you. Niji Hyuga, specialty is my clan's gentle fist and Byakugan. Asuma stepped up as he had been made the leader of the Jonin group. Excellent, now, we have a little training exercise for all of you to complete. What is it, Asuma-sensei? Ino. Simple, you just have to beat Naruto in a fight. Wait, that's it, we just have to beat the blonde in a fight. What does that accomplish? Tenten. It'll show you just how strong some people can be. If you can beat him, we'll buy you any one thing you want. So one of us just has to beat the blonde and they get a reward. Sounds easy enough. Tenten. No, not one of you. It's all of you versus Naruto at the same time. Kakashi. Group yelling what? You heard us, if a lot of you can beat him in a fight. We'll buy each of you any one thing you may want. If Naruto wins, however, he gets an all-you-can-eat pass to Ichiraku's. Yugao, Naruto's eyes lit up and he started glaring at the others. But sensei. That's not fair to Naruto, he couldn't possibly beat all of us by himself. Sakura. Well then, you have nothing to worry about, do you? Asuma. Alright. All I can eat Ichiraku's, here I come. Naruto yelled as he stood up and started stretching. You'd better prepare yourselves. He's coming in 5 minutes, so if I were you lot I'd come up with a plan. All students except for Sasuke, Niji and Rock Lee formed up. Hey. We need to come up with a plan. Shikamaru. HNN useless, I can take the dope alone. Sasuke. No need, I am fated to win already. Niji. Yosh. It is most unyouthful to team up against one opponent. I shall challenge him alone. Rock Lee. Sai, whatever, let those three distract him while we come up with a plan. Oh, come on. No genin is so strong that he needs this much preparation. Tenten. Listen up. Naruto over there may be an idiot, hey. But he's a monster combatant. He was so strong at the age of 10 that the Chunin wouldn't let us fight him anymore. And if my hunch is correct, he's gotten much stronger since. Shikamaru. Alright, I'm listening. Tenten. Here's what we'll do. 5 minutes later. Everyone ready? Kakashi. Yes. Begin. Yosh. I'm first. Slam. Naruto had disappeared from where he was, only to reappear in front of Lee. He grabbed Lee's head and slammed him into the ground. Crash clap. Naruto vanished again, and Neji was grabbed by his ankles and slammed into Lee, who was already on the ground. Naruto appeared behind Sasuke, who was slapped in the back of his head so hard he face planted into the ground. Naruto vanished again. Whoa. Did you see? Thought tap Kiba was flicked on his forehead hard enough to make him flip. Naruto was gone again. Where is he? Choji. Slam. Whoosh POW. Choji was thrown into Shikamaru. Naruto then caught the two of them by their legs and redirected them into Shino. Naruto vanished yet again. Naruto appeared beside Psy-Nok. Psy's jaw was hit at high speed. He collapsed to the ground as if his strings had been cut. Naruto was already gone by the time he hit the ground. Tap 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 tap. Hinata, Sakura, Ino, and Tenten were each bonked on the head just hard enough to render them unconscious. Naruto reappeared holding Akamaru by the scruff of his neck, who was whimpering. Do I have to knock him out too? He pointed at Akamaru. The Jonin all had a look of disbelief on their faces. They had all known that Naruto was strong. They didn't understand until this moment just how strong he really was. No wonder the Hokage put him on a solo team. They all thought. What really surprised them, however, was just how quickly he was able to eliminate his opponents. From the second Kakashi said to begin until the end, only 10 seconds had passed. No Naruto. You can let him go. Asuma. Okay. Naruto sat Akamaru on the ground. He ran over and hid behind Kiba's unconscious body. So how about that all-you-can-eat ramen pass? Sai, here you go, Naruto. Have fun. Kurenai. Yada. Ichiraku's here I come. He dashed off, leaving the Jonin and their students alone. Yugao. Don't say it, Kakashi. I pity you for having to deal with him every day. Sai, thanks. While Naruto was out enjoying himself at Ichiraku's, the Jonin were talking while waiting for their students to wake up. I never would have thought a genin could be so strong. Kurenai admitted from where she was sitting on the ground. Neither would I. Can you even compare him to a genin at this point? Yugao asked. You two know as well as I that rank doesn't equate strength. Asuma. He's right. Kakashi said with his head in a book. Naruto's flames of youth burn incredibly bright for one his age. Gai. Bronwa, what happened? Rock Lee. Yosh. My student awoke before yours, Kakashi. This is my win. Whatever. Ah. Curse you, Kakashi. He yelled, then stood up and walked over to Lee. Hello, my most youthful apprentice. How are you feeling? Like I was hit repeatedly by you, Gai-sensei. Laughs. Yes, you took quite a hit. Can you stand? Lee quickly jumps up and stomped his feet. Yosh. Of course, Gai-sensei. A little pain won't keep me down. Tuckle, that's my apprentice. Come, have a seat while we wait for the others to wake up from their naps. Lee and Gai walked over to where the other Jonin were sitting and sat down. One by one the other students woke up, were checked on by their respective senseis, and were told to take a seat to wait on the others, quietly. They were told not to ask questions until everyone was awake. The last to wake up was Sasuke. HNN. Sasuke grunted as he lifted himself up. Sasuke-kun. Sakura and Ino yelled, then they ran to him. Are you alright? He didn't hurt you too badly, did he? The two worried over him while he was attempting to walk over to the group. Sasuke ignored them. After reaching the group, he dropped tiredly onto his butt. What happened? He asked. What happened? Simple, you lost, again. Kakashi. How? Sasuke. Well, let's start at the beginning. But first, who can tell me what you all did wrong? Asuma. The students looked at each other. None of them came up with anything though. We were divided instead of working together. And we tried to fight him fairly, even though we knew he was much stronger than us. Shikamaru. Ding ding, tell the man what he's won. Iruka was right, you're smarter than you look. Kakashi. Shikamaru grumbled something that sounded suspiciously like fuck you. The Jonin ignored it though. We told you he was coming at you in 5 minutes, yet you didn't prepare. Sure, you came up with a plan on how to prepare, but coming up with a plan and executing it are two very different things. You should have been executing your plan as you thought it up. Not waiting for the 5 minutes to be up, then executing it. Asuma. You told us not to begin until after the 5-minute countdown was over, though. Ino. Wrong, I said he will be coming in 5 minutes. I didn't say you had to wait that long to attack him. Kakashi. Isn't that cheating? Sakura. You're ninja now. And an honorable ninja doesn't live a very long life. You have to attack when presented with the opportunity. And try not to give your enemy the same opportunity. That is how you win a battle. Asuma. But Gai-sensei. You always said to fight with honor. Doesn't this go against the very thing you taught us? Lee. When fighting comrades, yes. In a real battle, however, honor is what the victor says it is. Gai. That doesn't make any sense. How can you define honor just because you won? Sasuke. Because it's hard to debate the meaning of honor when you're dead. Yugao. Exactly, so what if you fought with honor if you lost? Hooray for you. You're the most honorable corpse in the graveyard. Kurenai. The students were rendered silent after Kurenai's remark. Then what should we have done? Choji. You should have used the time we gave you to hide, set up traps, even attacking early would have been better than just standing there. You're ninja, act like it. He looked at the faces of all the students. They got up to leave, but Sasuke was held back by Kakashi. Sasuke, come with me for a moment. What is it? In private, Sasuke. The two walked further into the woods, away from the prying eyes and ears of the other students. When Kakashi felt they were far enough in, he put away his book and focused on Sasuke. What are you doing, Sasuke? I don't know what you may, you don't lie to me. I knew your brother when he was your age, and he would never have taught you to directly challenge someone who's superior to you. Chuckle, my brother didn't teach me anything. I was never good enough for him to train. To him, I was always the worthless brother, the one who was so weak he didn't even bother killing me. Sasuke snarled. Sai, is that what you think? That your brother actually believed you were worthless? What else could it have been, huh? I heard it often enough from him. Sasuke, you're pathetic, Sasuke, you're a disgrace. Sasuke, you're weak. He yelled. When I knew your brother. He never stopped talking about how proud of you he was. How you were going to succeed him. How you were going to surpass him. The man you're describing isn't your brother. I don't know why he did what he did. But the man you're describing sounds an awful lot like your father. A man your brother despised. Then why do I only remember him acting that way? That, I don't know. Maybe one day you'll get to ask him. Kakashi started to walk away. Kakashi-sensei. What should I have done about Naruto, I mean? Who is the most powerful ninja you know, Sasuke? My brother. Sai, I thought you might say that. Very well, who do you think would win in a fight between your brother and Naruto? My brother, easily. That's where you're wrong. Your brother may very well win that fight. But definitely not easily. Do you know why? Are you saying that Naruto, the dope, is on par with my brother? Sasuke asked. Sai, let me put it this way. If your brother had a chance to prepare, he wins. If he caught Naruto unawares, he wins. But if we lock the two of them in a room together, your brother will die 9 times out of 10. Okay, I get that the dope is strong. But don't you think you're exaggerating a bit? He can't be that strong. Oh, but he is. Physically, Naruto could be the strongest ninja in the village. Potentially the fastest too. That threw Sasuke for a loop. He knew the dope was strong for a genin, maybe even the strongest genin in the village. But to be the physically strongest and fastest ninja. Then how could my brother beat him? That's simple, your brother only fought a physical battle as a last resort. What made him the ninja people respected and feared was his mind. Add a Sharingan onto the mind that was always 3 steps ahead of his enemies. And you have one dangerous combination. I see. Have a nice day, Sasuke. Kakashi vanished in a swirl of leaves. My mind, huh? Next day. Training ground 7, 5 a.m. How on earth did you eat 5,000 ryo worth of ramen? Yugao screamed at Naruto. He's sorry. Where did you even put that much ramen? You don't look like you've gained a pound. Oh, that's because I worked it off last night. Sai, whatever, let's go join the others. She stumped off while muttering. Stupid blonde brat, that was an entire week's salary. Listen up. Today, we are going to getting everyone's first missions as ninja. Team Gai, as you are already experienced in this area. I ask that you only report to this field for team training once a week. Is that okay? Asuma. Yosh. It sounds most youthful, Asuma. Let's go, team. We have missions to do. Gai said before he and his team left the training field. Asuma looked at the other students one at a time before he came to a decision. The rest of us will head to the Hokage Tower to get your first mission. After today, we will regroup here once a week for team training exercises. Is that alright? That's fine. Kurenai. Yep, Kakashi. Sure, Yugao. Alright, everyone, move out. The group left the training field on their way to the Hokage Tower. Nana, Yugao-sensei. Aren't we going with them? Naruto had to ask once he noticed that Yugao hadn't started walking yet. No, I'm sorry about this, Naruto. Hokage-sama has already given us our mission. Yada. What is it, Yugao-sensei? Saving a princess, freeing a country, oh are we going to bring down a tyrant? Nothing so glamorous, Naruto. Go pack your bags for a 2-day trip and meet me at the gate, understood? Roger, that, Yugao-sensei. Naruto replied before leaping into the air. Sigh, I was hoping this wouldn't come up so soon. She mumbled. She left the training field to go and make her own preparations. 6 a.m. Konoha Gates. Yugao was waiting at the gates for Naruto while trying to come up with a way to explain it to him. Yugao-sensei. Naruto yelled. He was running up to her with a large green backpack strapped to his back. What's that, Naruto? She asked once he had come to a stop in front of her. It's my ramen bag, Yugao-sensei. Folds forehead. Naruto, where are your supplies? Oh, they're in there as well. A change of clothes, fire starting kit, first aid kit, and my goggles. Well, most of that sounded fine to Yugao. She wasn't going to think about the ramen. The goggles parted her confused. I'm sorry, goggles. They were a birthday gift from Gigi. I carry them with me anytime I leave the village. I probably shouldn't have said that. Naruto felt he had walked into a trap after answering her question. So, you've left the village before. Sorry. She glared at him for a few moments. I will talk more about that once we get back. Are you ready to go? Yep. Alright then, let's go. The two of them set out for their destination, which was a bandit camp a day's walk from the village. Normally, the Jonin would wait until the genin was a bit older before they took them out for their first bandit extermination mission. But this time, the Hokage was adamant that Naruto needed to get this experience in a controlled setting, rather than wait for something to happen and for him to freeze up during a mission, which could get someone killed. The two of them talked while they walked. Yugao told Naruto about her boyfriend, Hade, and Naruto told her about his relationship with the Ichirakus. They continued to talk until they were about 10 miles out from their destination. Wait. Yugao whispered. Naruto came to a stop beside her. I didn't want you to have to experience this yet. Unfortunately, Hokage-sama overruled me. What is it, Yugao-sensei? Naruto tilted his head in confusion. Our mission today is to exterminate a group of bandits that have shown up too close to the village. And by exterminate you mean? Kill them, Naruto, we're here to kill them. Oh, Naruto seemed to turn a little green at the thought. Follow me, Yugao said. She led Naruto through the trees until the camp came into view. When it did, Naruto saw something he wasn't prepared for. No. Stop, please. Don't do this. A father screamed as his teenage daughter was being carried inside a tent. No. Let me go. Daddy, help me, please. She screamed with tears running down her face as she beat on the back of her captor. A big burly man with a perverted grin on his face, who was surrounded by at least 20 other bandits. Easy there, girlie. Wouldn't want you to hurt yourself before we can sell ya. Laughs. Let go of her. The father roared. He tried to stand up, to save his daughter, to fight, to get revenge for his wife, who they had already killed. But he couldn't move. The rope that bound his body prevented him from doing anything. Yugao-sensei. Yugao, who had also been watching, heard Naruto whisper. She thought that maybe he was having second thoughts or that he was just scared. When she looked at his face, though, those thoughts went out the window. Naruto had a look of absolute apathy on his face. Why to kill the no. W. Yugao-sensei. Adi said as he stared into her eyes. The Kyuubi's chakra was leaking into his voice, making it two-toned, and his eyes had turned a violet color. Shivers. Yugao felt a chill run down her spine. The look on his face wasn't nearly as chilling as his tone of voice. Although Yugao hadn't known him for very long, she knew that, right now, the little blonde ramen lover wasn't the one speaking. Are you sure you can handle it, Naruto? Yes, I'm sure of it. He nodded his head, his voice settling into a much deeper tone than was normal. Then I'll be monitoring from here. If you need help, I'll step in, understand? Understood. He leaped from his place so fast that not even Yugao could tell when he moved. And she was looking at him when he moved. But Naruto landed in the center of the bandit camp. The impact sent shockwaves throughout the camp, alerting everyone inside that they had an intruder. But Naruto didn't care. He wanted them to know he was there. Every bandit inside the camp came running to where Naruto had landed, and upon seeing him, they started laughing. Loud laughing. Look what we have here, boys. A little ninja has come to save the day. Are you lost, little ninja? More laughing. 15 of you, huh? What was that, little ninja? Where did you take the girl? Though the voice coming out of Naruto's body did unnerve them a bit, he was still just a child in their eyes. So they decided to taunt him some more. Oh? What's the matter, little ninja? Are you here to save the damsel in distress? Too bad, that girl is mine. Sure, she's a little underdeveloped. But her mother was stacked, so the leader, big burly guy, said with a perverted look in his eyes. You die first. Naruto calmly said, though his eyes did narrow. I what? Laughs. Did you hear this, little brat, boys? He said I die first. Ripping sound. The bandits, who had been watching Naruto, realized that he was no longer there. So they began looking around for him. They found him standing on the shoulder of their leader with his severed head clasped between his two hands. Naruto added a bit of strength to his hands. And the leader's head burst. Naruto pushed down on his body with his right foot, causing it to collapse in on itself. His bones turning to powder, and the body burst under the pressure. So fragile. Like squashing a grape beneath my shoe. Naruto whispered. His eyes locating the other bandits. Some of them were vomiting. The others were just staring at him in horror. Yugao was too. That was when he moved again. All over the camp. Bandits were exploding into bloody messes that covered the floor of the camp. Naruto would only appear in short bursts before he would vanish again. And each time he did, a bandit would die. When only a single bandit remained. The rest had all been killed despite trying to run away. Naruto appeared in front of him. He was covered head to toe in blood and gore. His normally bright orange jumpsuit was dyed a deep crimson red. And his eyes had turned completely red, with a slit for a pupil. Now I'll ask you again. Where is the girl? Despite the deep tone of his voice, he spoke in a completely emotionless monotone. The remaining bandit, who had already emptied his bowels, starting spouting out locations of the other bandit camps that they had done business with in the past, as well as the location of their hostages. Thank you. Naruto took a step closer to him and had reached down to grab him. When Yugao showed up. Naruto. Stand down. He glanced back at her for a moment. Before his features returned to normal. Okay, Yugao-sensei. Naruto backed away from the man. Report. She ordered. Trying to maintain her sense of calm after seeing the bloodbath the blonde just caused. As well as his sudden switch from the being that did it back to the blonde ramen lover. So, Naruto told her everything the bandit had told him. Then he asked if he could go and free the hostage. No, as you are now. All you will do is frighten her even more. I'll do that, you go clean up. Yes, Yugao-sensei. He chirped before walking away to change clothes. So you're going to let me go? The bandit asked. Shying Yugao's sword flashed and the man's head was severed. A look of shock on his face. Of course, not. I just didn't want Naruto to ruin the evidence we had cleared the camp. She said to no one as she sealed the head away and went to free the hostages. 2 weeks had passed since Naruto's first mission. And in that time, Naruto had learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu. And its variants. Yugao even showed him the Shadow Clone's unique trait. So I learned what they do? Naruto asked. He and Yugao were standing in an empty training field. She had brought him here after realizing that he had mastered, or at least could do it better than most people she had seen, the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Pretty much. When one of your shadow clones dispel or are destroyed, fat chance of that happening. Their experience becomes yours. Does that mean I can use them to exercise more? What? Like, if I create 2 clones, and they each do 10,000 push-ups. When they dispel, do I get the benefit of 20,000 push-ups? Sigh Naruto, answer me honestly. What is your workout regimen? Oh. I just do 20,000 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats a day. Followed by a 50-mile run. Why? Yugao's right eye started to twitch. She knew that she shouldn't have been surprised. No matter what he said. But, 20,000, it's no wonder he's so strong. Doing that amount of exercise a day. Along with the Kyuubi healing him at a rapid pace. His body must have surpassed what could be considered normal a long time ago. Bro, no, it doesn't work that way. If you were just trying to learn a new exercise, it would. But you wouldn't really get a benefit from it otherwise. The shadow clones don't pass along any physical training they do. Oh, that sucks. Sigh, this workout maniac will be what finally drives me insane 10 years as an Anbu, and this blonde brat will be what finally does me in. Yugao thought to herself. Naruto, let's see how many clones you can form at once. Don't worry if it's only a few. Most jonin can only form 3 at the most. Right, he said with a nod. He crossed his fingers into the right hand seal. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Fuck it. I don't care anymore. Yugao turned and stormed away from where Naruto and his 5,000 clones were standing. What's the matter, Yugao-sensei? They all asked. Ah, don't do that. I'm going to talk to the Hokage. You stay here and work on whatever. Yes, Yugao-sensei. Hokage Tower. Yugao stormed inside the Hokage Tower. She only stopped at his assistant's desk to let her know she was going in as a courtesy before she kicked open the doors to the Hokage's office. Hokage-sama, I want to resign as Naruto-sensei, she yelled, an angry look on her face. Hiruzen looked up from his paperwork for a moment at her outburst before simply going back to work. I won't stop you if you want to resign, Yugao. Kami knows I need all the loyal Anbu I can get, but I thought you liked working with Naruto. Hiruzen signed the paper he had been reading. before setting it aside, picking up his pipe and giving Yugao his full attention. Yugao's look of anger had slowly drained from her face after arriving in the office. And now all that remained of it was a slight glare. I do like working with him. Despite his eccentricities. Naruto is a good kid. She admitted. Even her glare dissipating until all that remained was a look of exhaustion. I failed to see the problem then. Why are you resigning? Because he's too strong already. I have nothing to teach him that would be useful at this stage. The only thing I can really teach him is how to wield a sword. But he hasn't shown any interest in swordsmanship. Uffing Yugao, do you know why I picked you to be his sensei? No sir. I do not. I picked you. Because you are loyal to a fault and one of the most hard-working jonin I have ever had the pleasure of knowing, but, more importantly, I picked you because you are kind. You don't judge people based on their backgrounds or status. You judge them on who they are and not what they are. He took another puff of his pipe. Exhale, I picked you. Because I knew that you wouldn't treat Naruto as just the Kyuubi's container. I knew you would treat him as what he really is, a child. A very powerful child. But a child, nonetheless. And you've done that, haven't you? Yes, Hokage-sama. But what? He scares me sometimes. Not on purpose, I'm sure. But I've seen what that child is truly capable of. The destruction he could cause, should he decide to go rogue. Doesn't that worry you as well? Not a day goes by that I don't have those same thoughts, you know. I've watched over that boy since he was given to me by his mother. Hiruzen grew slightly misty-eyed. His parents were some of the best people I'd ever known. They were as dear to me as my own family. And when they died I wept. Me, the god of shinobi, and I cried like a child for hours after they died. Hiruzen reached below his desk and retrieved a bottle of sake. Would you like some? You know what, sure. He poured her a glass, then himself. I never wanted this job back. When I retired, I swore to Bawako that I was done with the ninja life. The two of us would retire together and leave everything to the fourth. But you know how that story ended. He died saving us from the Kyuubi. Indeed he did. He gulped down his sake. Before pouring himself another. Every day, I look out that window. And I think of all the regrets that I've accumulated over the years. However, watching Naruto grow is not one of them. I don't regret watching him get stronger. Because I know that one day. He'll need that strength to protect himself. He drank some of his sake, then he sat the glass down. But another part of me fears he has gotten so strong. The village may pay the price for my attachment, as Danzo would call it. Should Naruto go rogue, none of his classmates will be able to stop him. Actually, I don't think there's a ninja in the village that could stop him. But, do you know what is protecting this village from that fate? No. Hiruzen smiles. He cares about the people in this village. Maybe not all of them, sure. But he does care for some of them. And because they live here, Naruto will protect this village with his life. He says it's his ninja way. To protect those he cares about. It's why he sought that strength to begin with. He had people he wanted to protect. So what happens if all of his precious people are taken from him? Hiruzen's eyes grew wide and his nostrils flared. I pity the fool who would dare take what Naruto holds dear. Urgent knocking. Hokage-sama. Emergency contact from Team Gai. Come in. The assistant opened the door and hurriedly walked over to the desk. This scroll came not 5 minutes ago, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen took the scroll, sliced the ribbon holding it closed and quickly read through it. Yugao, get Naruto and report back here in 10 minutes. Hiruzen ordered. Yes, Hokage-sama. 10 minutes later. Your mission is to rescue Team Gai. 2 of their number have been injured and captured. The others managed to escape to send this message and are awaiting backup. Who was captured? Light Gai and Tenten are the captured ninja. How was Gai captured? He's an elite jonin. Yugao. The report says that Miss Tenten was captured first and held hostage by a man claiming to be Aoi Rakusho. As in the one who stole the legendary sword of the Thunder God. Yugao. The very same. It says that Aoi threatened to kill Miss Tenten unless Gai surrendered himself. After Gai surrendered, he signaled for the other 2 to escape and request backup. Is that everything, Hokage-sama? Yes. These are the coordinates for your meet-up with the remaining members of Team Gai. The land of tea. Us, you 2 should hurry. Who knows what Aoi will do to Gai and Tenten? Yes, Hokage-sama. Yugao and Naruto saluted. They then ran to the window and jumped out, landing on a nearby roof. You heard Hokage-sama, Naruto. We have to get there fast. Does that mean you want me to? I can't believe I'm saying this. But yes, I want you to jump while carrying me. Yada. Hang on, Yugao-sensei. Naruto scooped her up in a bridal carry, bent his knees, and jumped. People all over the village could hear Yugao scream as she and Naruto soared over the village walls. With Team Gai. Earlier. Team Gai had been on a simple escort mission from Konoha to the land of tea. Their client was a wealthy merchant who was apparently part of the Wasabi family. Oh, I'm sure you four will love it. The tea houses are amazing, the beaches are beautiful. As are the women, he snickered. And it's incredibly peaceful there this time of year. Did you hear that, Gai-sensei? Beaches mean oceans, and oceans mean swim training. Indeed it does, my youthful apprentice. If we cannot swim around the island of tea 10 times, then we must do 500 push-ups. And if we can't do that, then we must do 1000 squats. If we cannot do that. Tenten pulled Niji and the client's horse that he was riding further ahead until they were just out of earshot. I apologize for my sensei and my teammate. They can be a bit weird. Laughs, don't mind it, miss. I find their enthusiasm to be quite refreshing. Enthusiasm, right? Tenten shook her head, while Niji just remained his normal stoic self. The five had continued on their journey for 5 days until they came to the boat that would take them to the land of tea, where they boarded and continued on to the island country. 3 days at sea was the tail end of their journey. And everything was going fine until they departed the boat. I'm sure you'll enjoy yourselves while you're here. In fact, why don't I show you around? An arrow was shot at the client from the nearby tree line. We're under attack. Lee, Niji, we're going to be the rear guard. Tenten, you're up front with the client. Move, move. Gai ordered. Tenten hopped on the horse with the client and took off. Lee, and Niji ran behind them, deflecting arrows as they went. At one point, 2 bandits ran out in front of the horse in an attempt to stop it. Not likely. Tenten yelled as she pulled out several throwing knives. She threw them with pinpoint accuracy into the eyes of the bandits in the way. Then Gai and Lee finished them off as they ran past. Gai performed a spinning heel kick to one's head, while Lee snapped the other's neck. They ran for several more minutes, with the horse pulling slightly further ahead. Hey! Slow down, we're getting too far ahead of my teammates. Tenten yelled. I can't. The horse isn't listening to me. Sure enough, the merchant was pulling back on the reins. But the horse was ignoring him. The two pulled even further ahead. Until Tenten decided to grab the merchant and jump off of the horse. The two hit the ground and rolled to a stop, with the merchant landing on Tenten just in time to see several senbon pierce the horse's side. Horse whines. The horse fell to the ground unable to move. And a man with blue hair and purple eyes stepped out of the shadows. In his left hand was a large umbrella. You weren't supposed to dodge that, the man said as he pointed his umbrella at Tenten and the merchant. I, who had seen most of what happened, increased his speed in an attempt to reach his pupil in time, leaving his other 2 students trailing behind slightly. Pop, the man slightly squeezed the handle of his umbrella, causing senbon to shoot into the merchant and Tenten's legs. Wall would wash that, Tenten slurred as she passed out. The man quickly walked over to where they were laying and pointed his umbrella at their heads just in time for Gai to reach him and kick him away. The man's umbrella took the brunt of the damage as he had raised it in time to block Gai's kick, but it still sent him tumbling back a ways. Tenten, are you alright? Gai yelled as he tried to wake her up, after rolling the merchant off of her. A Konoha shinobi. I was wondering which village he would hire on his way back, the man said. What did you do to Tenten? Gai stood up and charged at the man. I clashed with the man several times. Gai would attempt a kick, the man would dodge. Gai would throw him to the ground, the man would roll back up to his feet in time to block another strike. You whoosh if you don't stop. She hopped eyes. The man said between dodging strikes. He knew he was done for if he took a direct hit. What did you do? Gai growled. He was desperately trying not to kill this man until he knew what he had done to Tenten. And the client. I poisoned her. Whoa. Stop attacking me, the man yelled. Fix her now. Only if you surrender. Yikes. First. That brought Gai's onslaught to a stop. He stood there while glaring at the man. I surrender. You give her the antidote. I give you my word. Very well. Gai dropped his arms to his sides. The man stared at Gai for a few seconds. PFFT, Dumbus. He launched senbon into Gai's stomach. Most unyouthful. You gave me your word. Gai fell to his knees. I am Aoi Rakusho. And I don't keep my word with Konoha ninja. Or haven't you heard? Laughs. Lee and Niji, who had just arrived, saw Gai and Tenten on the ground and Lee wanted to leap into action. But Niji held him back. Let me go, Niji-san. We must save Tenten and Gai-sensei. And the client, did they forget about him? Lee, look at Gai-sensei's hand. Lee looked. Gai was signaling the two of them in their team's code. Call ... for backup. He wants us to send word to Konoha about what happened. But we can't just leave them. And we aren't. Niji snarled. We will send words to Konoha about what happened. And while they send backup, we're going to follow them. Niji and Lee had to watch as several large men came out of the trees to pick up their captives before carrying them away. Niji and Lee followed them from a safe distance. Thanks to Niji's Byakugan, they only hoped their backup would arrive quickly, or they were going to save them themselves. The next day, the two of them were still waiting for backup to arrive. However, thanks to them sneaking inside the camp the previous night, they overheard one of the bandits saying that the plan was to ransom Gai and Tenten back to the village for Gai's bingo book price. Otherwise, they would sell him to another village. Though they also heard that the boss wanted the two of them unharmed, he still kept them paralyzed with a toxin on his senbon. Didn't want any escape attempts, after all. The merchant had already been ransomed back to his family at the price of 100,000 ryo. So the only hostages they had to save were Gai and Tenten. Don't worry, Lee. The bird should have arrived at Konoha with the emergency request already. We should be getting that back up soon. I hate not knowing what's happening to them. They're fine for now. The two of them are inside a cage at the back of that tent. He's still keeping them paralyzed, though. I just wish our backup would get here already. That's impossible, Lee. It's a 6-day trip even for ninja. So we still have a few days to wait. Incoming. Lee and Niji looked up in time to see Naruto and a very haggard-looking Yugao on a collision course with them. Dodge. They jumped out of the way. Boom. Naruto landed on his feet in a crouched position, his impact leaving a crater. When he stood up, Yugao pushed herself out of his arms, landing on her knees on the ground. Sweet, sweet ground. I'll never leave you again, she whispered while kissing the dirt. Lee and Niji just stared at Naruto after witnessing his sensei acting so strange. What did you do to her? Niji. She's just being overdramatic. Naruto. Overdramatic? You got us here in 5 jumps. 3 of those made this really loud explosion sound as we left the ground, and the last one carried us over an ocean. He broke the sound barrier. Niji. Yes, that Yugao. And? Naruto. And he says. My organs felt like they were going to fall out. Yugao. He sorry. Naruto. Sigh, whatever. Team Yugao reporting in. Tell us about the situation. Yugao said after regaining her calm. She still wasn't about to stand up, though. Lee and Niji filled them in on what they learned. I see. You two did well, she said with a smile. Still, hasn't stood up. Where is this camp? Naruto. We'll take you there. The 3 boys started to walk away when they noticed Yugao wasn't moving. Are you coming, sensei? Naruto. I can't feel my legs, she admitted. Lee and Niji sweat dropped while Naruto rubbed the back of his head. 15 minutes later. After Yugao regained the feeling in her legs, the 4 of them made their way over to the camp. I counted 108 bandits. 1 of which is a Jonin level ninja, 2 are Chunin level, and 5 are Genin level ninja. All appear to be from the Hidden Rain village. If we go by their headbands. Niji. I see. What do you think, Naruto? Can you handle the bandits? Naruto just looked at her, his eyes bleeding into a violet color. Sigh, of course, you can. She then looked at Niji and Lee. Do the 2 of you think you can handle the other ninja while I handle Aoi? Yes, ma'am. They responded. Alright then. We attack in 10 minutes. She said while checking her equipment. Yosh, let's have a good battle. Right, my youthful companions, Lee. Niji looked away, Yugao ignored him. M. R. I. D. A. O. Odd battle. Naruto said with a smile, his voice getting deeper near the end, and his eyes going from violet to red with a slit pupil. Chuckles, this'll be fun. With Aoi. Aoi had been just about to take a nap when the alarm was triggered. What is it now? He yelled as he stormed outside. Upon exiting his tent, he saw something flash out of the corner of his eye. Shying. A blade passed through the space his neck would have been in had he not ducked. More of you Konoha trash, huh? Speak for yourself, Aoi Rakusho. A woman with purple hair said. The least you could do is give me the name of the woman I'm about to kill. He smiled at her. My name is Yugao Yuzuki. Remember it as I send you to hell. The battle between the Jonin had begun. Niji, Lee, and Naruto, 2 of which were thrown by the 3rd, landed in the center of the camp. What happened to Stealth, Blondie? Niji. Relax, this is more fun. I concur with my scary friend here, Niji-san. It is time for a good fight. Lee knocked his fists together as he charged at the 5 genin that had arrived to block them. Sigh, I'm beginning to see why Yugao-sensei is always sighing, Naruto-san. Niji advanced on the 2 chunin. Tuckles, looks like the rest of you bastards get my full attention. Before we begin, tell me, what's your health coverage like? Good? One of the bandits charged at him. It must be great. Naruto ran up to him. In his perception, everyone except him had come to an almost complete stop. When he reached the bandit, Naruto threw an easy punch. Whoosh. From the point of contact, the bandit's body caved in until it exploded in slow motion. Naruto moved on to the next bandit while keeping an eye on Lee and Neji, who were holding their own against their respective opponents. By the time Naruto had caused 50 of the bandits to explode, Lee had taken down 3 of the genin, who had their bodies broken in various ways, and Neji had killed one of the chunin. Death by broken neck. Looks like I should speed up a bit, Naruto thought while standing still. His perception was already at such a speed that when one bandit exploded, it took tens of seconds before his blood hit the ground. In Naruto's eyes, he was standing in a frozen rainstorm of blood. To everyone else though, Naruto was moving around at speeds that destroyed the sound barrier with every movement. His punches were causing the bandits to explode one after another without pause. It was seriously scaring Lee and Neji. But they both wordlessly vowed to hyperventilate later. They were fighting at the moment. Back over with Yugao and Aoi. The two had been fighting for a few minutes before Aoi realized he was outmatched. So he pulled out his trump card. The Blade of Pure Lightning Chakra. The appearance of the Blade of the Thunder God pulled the battle into his favor. Until one of Naruto's punches accidentally sent a bandit head flying over the camp. And a drop of blood landed on Aoi's face. It distracted him for just a second shying, that second cost him his life though. As Yugao sliced him horizontally in two. He coughed out blood as his body fell apart. Another slash removed his head. Sigh. I'm out of shape. A guy like that shouldn't have taken so long to kill, she thought. Yugao sealed both Aoi's head and sword into a scroll. She searched Aoi's body for a few seconds before she found a small vial. Then she heading to where Neji said Gai and Tenten were being held. After heading inside and delivering the counteragent, she tested it on a bandit she found cowering before heading inside. She helped the two walk outside the tent and to the center of the camp, where she assumed the 3 genin would be. When they got there, they saw Naruto, shirtless, trying to drain blood out of his clothes, while Neji and Lee were hiding inside some boxes off to the side, heads poked out to keep an eye on Naruto. Sigh Naruto, what did I say about scaring your fellow genin? Yugao. Naruto looked up at the sound of her voice. You told me not to. He looked over at Neji and Lee, who quickly pulled their heads back inside the boxes. And he realized he may have gone a bit overboard as he looked around at the amount of blood he had spilled. The blood had turned the entirety of the camp center red. Making 100 people explode will do that. He's sorry. It took Yugao and Gai 10 minutes to convince Lee and Neji to climb out of the boxes. You swear he won't make us explode? Neji. We swear. Naruto was off to the side feeling slightly guilty. So he also swore not to make them explode. After calming down the two genin, Team Gai and Team Yugao went their separate ways. Alright, Yugao-sensei. Hang on. No. We are taking the boat this time. Oh, but the boat is boring. Naruto whined. Yugao smiled after Naruto had turned his back. She still wasn't sure if she should stay on as his jonin-sensei. But maybe she would stay for a while longer. It couldn't get much weirder than this, right? Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the story. If you did, please like the video. Also consider subscribing and sharing this with your friends. This will really mean a lot for me. I'll see you in the next one.